2, 1, 2, testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Test 1, test 2. Hello, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hang on, that's way behind. Where's that on? Okay, so it's broadcasting. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf. Yeah, that's like 20 seconds behind. So, see, that's live on the screen. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, yeah. Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf. Yeah. So countdown on that. Hang on. Okay, that's Tinner's coming around onto the old pit straight down, coming across the finishing line now to start another lap as he heads up towards Cops. Okay, that's Tinner's coming around onto the old pit straight down, coming across the finishing line now to start another lap as he heads up towards Cops. Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome to the next round of the Apex Online Racing Endurance Championship. Tonight we are at Silverstone. We have an extremely long race tonight. We're here for 2 hours 40 minutes. There is no compulsory pit stops. However, obviously with this length of race, the drivers are going to have to pit. We are just coming to the end of qualifying. And as you can see, Tennis in the House is the fastest guy at the minute. He is not quite cracked the 2 minutes. He's a fraction ahead of Kill City, who is currently our leading driver in the championship. And I will just give you a quick rundown of the championship top 5. Kill City is in the lead at the moment. He's had a third and a first, so very consistent driving there. Next up is Kaiser, who is currently third in the qualifying, just half a second off Tennis in the House. And then in fourth place is Rotters, who is quite well down in the championship at the moment. He's 14th. He's only had 12 positions, but this is a home race for him, for the British driver. So he's got a good chance there. We've just got 30 seconds left in his qualifying. So if anything's going to happen, it's got to happen now. And then Assetto, who is fifth in the championship, fifth on qualifying at the moment. He's currently 13th in the championship, and he's had a 9th and the 13th in the first 2 rounds. We were at Misano for the first round, and then at Nürburgring for the second round. So this is the third round here at Silverstone in the UK. And it's 6th place qualifying at the moment. It's another driver who did extremely well in the first round. He won that round. That was Locker, but unfortunately had a DNF in the second round. So that leaves him currently 4th in the championship. So qualifying time is up. Let's just keep an eye on where people are shaking their laps out at the moment. Kill City has just got Tennis in the House. He's gone sub 2 minutes. And nearly 0.6 of a second ahead of Tennis. So we know Kill City is one of the quick drivers out there. Kaiser is now 1.1 seconds off. And then let's see who else is on a lap as well. Rotter's there, and Assetto. So they're all just at the start of the lap at the moment. So I would assume they have crossed the line with time to go. So as they work their way around the Brooklyn section of the track, past the pits which these drivers will use, because this championship uses the older version of this circuit. So we've got the pits between Woodcote and Copse. So as they are crossing the line, let's see, we got Kaiser there 4th. Anyone else just finishing? rFactor is 5th. Oh, these drivers are. And the one that I'm quite surprised about there is Milden. Is that he's down in 11th, and he's a guy that we know has got very good pace, and he's down. He's nearly 2 seconds off pole. Now we know he's got good race pace, so that may well come back to him later in the race. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. So we are just running through a couple of technical checks here at the moment. As we're just making sure everything's up and running ready for the race. Now, Silverstone's track, obviously with quite a lot of history, was originally a World War II air base, and racing started here just after the war, originally just using the perimeter of the airfield circuit, along with a couple of runs up and down the runways. Grand Prix racing, as it's known, returned there in 1948, and in 1950 was the very, very first round of the Formula One World Championship, where then King and Queen were in attendance, as it was such a significant event. and that kicked off the Formula One World Championship that we know and love today. So circuit's undergone an awful lot of changes, mainly since the early 90s. The original perimeter circuit held on, apart from one of a couple of changes like the chicane at Woodcote through the 70s and 80s. And then as the cars got faster, the sections between Stowe and Club were introduced, and also the infamous Beckett's complex, as the cars were getting quicker and quicker. So we're just going to do a little bit juggling here. And then obviously there was the major change a few years ago, once the commitment from F1 to stay at Silverstone for a number of years. They then invested in the new wing complex and moved the start line from between Woodcote and Copse down to between Club and Abbey, and then realigned the circuit, increasing the circuit length quite significantly, and producing quite some interesting other parts of the circuit that we didn't have before. So it's nicely evolved, this circuit, from being an old school perimeter, almost oblong circuit into a very much a modern arrangement. So drivers are just on the grid at the moment. I can see we're just starting off on the warm-up lap. Unfortunately, you can't see this at the moment because we are having one or two minor issues at this end, and we're hoping to get over them. This is unfortunately the joys of ACC, that it does have one or two minor glitches within it, but hopefully we are going to get over them all before the race starts. So the drivers are actually starting off on their warm-up lap, so we've got plenty of time to get things up and running for you. Now, this 2-hour 40-minute race tonight, there's no requirements specifically on pit stops, but tyre wise and fuel wise, these cars can't go for much more than an hour, even if they lean off the fuel and are very gentle on the tyres. So they are going to need probably at least 2 pit stops, and people may go for the more aggressive 3 pit stop strategy, depending on how their race is going. Maybe they're looking for track position or something of that ilk. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out as the evening goes on. It's one slight downside tonight. We've got a slightly depleted field. I think we're down to 13 cars. We've actually got nearly 20 point scorers in this championship. So unfortunately, we've got a few that haven't made it tonight, but obviously the ones that are there are going to be able to make hay, as they say, when the sun shines. So we are hopefully going to bring you visuals very, very soon, as we are just going back to get things up and running for you. The drivers are still on their warm-up lap, so we do have time to catch up with everything. We're just going to quickly bring that up for you. I've got it coming on my screen in front of me, and we will have those live pictures for you any second now. Hopefully they will be coming up for you. Now, the rolling time of this event is actually slightly longer than what you're seeing on screen. So we will see track evolution and also possibly night and day evolution, and also the weather is random, so we're hopefully going to get a so we are hopefully going to get some evolution. Now, hopefully you have got things on your screen and we are up and running. This is 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. So we are starting off in the dark. We will jump to the drivers at the front. They're working their way around. They're just coming down the Wellington Straight, down towards Brooklands and around the Woodcote complex onto the start-finish straight. As you can see, the drivers are lined astern. They're just starting to fan out to find their positions. They will be getting notifications on their dashboards to make sure that they're in the correct position, as they will go off side by side once we get round this final section. As you see, they're pulling out there nicely. We've got 14 races on the track. Interesting, we've got 2 drivers starting from the pit lane. Tennis in the house, who must have missed the point of getting onto the track because he was in second place. So this has given Kill City a bit of a clear run here, because Tennis in the house should have been alongside. So here we come, out of Woodcote. Rotter's going straight for the pits. Interesting strategy. He was in second place. So I don't know what he's... Oh, the rain is coming down. There's rain on the screen. This is going to liven things up, because I imagine most of the drivers out there are probably on slicks. So this is going to be completely random. Here we go. We're waiting for the lights to go green. Here we go. Coming up to start-finish line. And we are off and running. Green, green, green. Kill City pulls across as he enters cops to take the line to make sure he's defending there. Holds on to the lead. Second and third dropping out has obviously given him a great advantage there. But the drivers behind it, nobody is dropping away particularly. So they're all running line astern into the first time of going around Beckett's complex as they edge their way out onto Hanger Straight. In the background there we see Tennis in the house and DH Racing are a little bit behind the main field. 91, which is Rotters in second place, has picked up a speeding in the pit lane. So from being second on the grid, this has gone horribly wrong for him. So it's actually shown him first, but that's incorrect. Kill City is the leading driver at the moment. As we head down through the Vale, coming up towards Club. Now, S-Foul behind Kill City is looking quite racy. Now, this could be a tyre selection issue, depending on what risks they decided to take, depending on the weather forecast they had. It'll be interesting to see how this is going to shake out. Is everybody going to dive to the pits for a change of tyres after the first lap? You can see the track is looking shiny already, so that weather is coming down quite quickly. Oh, and in the background you see Kaiser is off. He was well up on the field. He was in third place. And going through there as they went past the wing building, he lost it and was out across the grass. So that spoiled his race. Mind you, we have 2 hours, 40 minutes to go. So an awful lot can happen. So be interested to see Rotters, who unfortunately who has picked up a drive-through but went for that tyre change early. Will the strategy come back to him as everybody else has to pit? So here we go. Coming around Woodcote. Who's going to go for the pits? You can see the windscreen wipers on the McLaren of Kill City working away hard. No, nobody else is going for the pits. So I imagine they may well have gone for the wets already. Or alternatively, I've just seen a notification the pit lane is now open, so they may not have been able to pit at the end of that first lap. So let's have a look. Where did so Rotters, we know, dropped to the back. Kaiser dropped down to 11th following that spin. So he basically dropped to the back of the leading pack there because the Tennis in the house and DH were the two that started from the pit lane. So let's just move our way down, see who is doing what a little bit further back. So S-Foul is still keeping Kill City very honest there. rFactor in third. Has got Locker for close company. And we know Locker's fast as he won the first round in the championship. And Locker has got Quado behind him. Now, I just have to check where Quado is in the championship. I just haven't got it. Quado, he's currently running 7th in the championship. He had a 5th in the first race and then 10th at the Nürburgring. So pretty consistent there in the sort of upper to midfield. And that seems to be the trick in this championship, that at the moment, the guys that are doing well are the ones that have had consistent finishes. And some of the guys there have only had 8th or 10th, but they're still well up in the championship because they've consistently scored points in the first 2 rounds. So down to Flawed Algorithm. He's down in 6th. He is now currently 10th in the championship. So he, compared to his championship position, he's punching against his above his weight. Now, Ben Milden, he's down there in 7th. I was speaking to him earlier. He's promised me some action in this event. and he's already given that because he has moved up from, I think, down at about 10th or 11th where he qualified. He is up to 5th. So these wet conditions are certainly suiting him, and Ben is sliving his way through the field, and Ben is someone I know that generally has a much better race pace than what he does qualifying. So Ben, that is definitely working for him at the moment. So we'll drop down to... So rFactor's had a little bit of an incident there because he has dropped from 3rd to 10th. He was doing that quite well there and possibly has had a slight run off the track. So these tricky conditions in the dark are certainly catching the drivers out and mixing the order up, which is what we like to see. So let's have a look, see as we're working our way down the field. Let's look who else we've got. Lucas Brain, he's currently 11th in the championship, so a 7th place there is going to do him well, and that would be his best finish so far. He's had a 14th and an 8th so far. And then Matthew Asbreck. Now, remember, he was quite competitive in one of the races, but he's had a 16th and 11th, and it's currently put him 15th in the championship. So he's certainly punching above his weight at the moment. The Kaiser is certainly moving his way back up the field. I think Lucas Brain, who I just commented, has shuffled his way back down the field. He was doing quite well there, and I think he was up in about 5th or 6th. He's dropped down to 13th. So this is very much movers shakers. This is like the top 40 on a Sunday night. Everyone's moving up and down positions very rapidly. So Tinnis in the house, he's back up to 10th following that pit lane start, along with DH Racing, who was also a pit lane starter. And the other one is Sneaky Ninja. He's currently 16th in the championship. He's only had a position of 8th in the first one. So he started, I think, fairly well down the field tonight. So he is still there in 12th. So let's just move up to the front. We've got SFAL is still working very hard on Kill City here. Let's see if we can go on board. We can just... Oh, that was not the one. As we know, ACC in spectator mode is playing with the dark forces, so anything possible could happen here. So I'm just trying to bring up... Oh, we got some lively action there by the cameraman on screen. We'll leave it there at the moment. We'll just try and fix that for you a little bit later on. As we know, it's dealing with the dark forces a little bit with ACC. But certainly SFAL, who's not had any massive results so far in this championship, is definitely giving Kill City here a really hard time and really making that Bentley work. And then the other one that's coming is Locker, who's made his way up to 3rd. Obviously, a couple of people like rFactor and that have spun out. But FAL is definitely working hard in giving Kill City a hard time. Now, nobody's deciding to go for tyres at the moment. We've obviously got a long haul here tonight. We're just 8 minutes into a 2-hour, 40-minute race. So there's no point in any heroics quite yet, because obviously if they do, you know, their race could be spoiled for trying to be brave this early on. Whereas what you want to do is sit back and let the race possibly come to you, because others could make a mistake, and consistency here is very much key. So looking back, let's see who we got a bit of action with. Wow, Ben Milden here. Oh, just as we hop on board, Ben is looking at the end of the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. Ben is looking at Credo. Ben is definitely on the move here, up from, I think, qualifying around about 10th. He's got his eyes on 4th place here very much. So we'll sit with Ben and Credo at the moment, because I think this is where we're going to have a little bit of action. as Ben, that Bentley is definitely looking quite racy. Oh, and he's looking to do a Hamilton there, decides to back out of it as they go around Copse and head up towards the Beckett's complex, but he's really close. I can see him making a manoeuvre at the end of the Hangar Straight, very much like Mansell on PK all those years ago. Oh, he's not waiting. Ben's looking around the outside there. No, he couldn't quite make it stick in the middle of the Beckett's complex. Has that compromised his exit onto the Hangar Straight? He's right on the tail of that Ferrari. It looks like the Ferrari... No, the Ferrari's not going defensive. Ben's looking. He's looking. He's going to go for it on the brakes. No, he's just on the inside there. Quado's trying to hang on to it round the outside. And he does. Oh, Ben's going around the outside into the second part of Vale, into Club, sorry. And Ben's got the move done. Fantastic stuff there. So, that's Ben Milden up to 4th. Now, he's on the mission after Locker. So, Ben is definitely the man on the move here tonight. So, let's have a quick look down. Where else we got? Tinnis in the house. We know he was a fast driver from qualifying. He's now up with Kaiser, who is also a fast driver. And he tumbled down the order from 3rd on the first lap when he lost it just at this part of the circuit. So I think this is where we could see things get a bit lively. I'm going to keep an eye on the battle for 1st and 2nd because SFAL is just keeping Kill City honest, that just half-second gap. But I think Tinnis is the next one who's likely to make a move. Oh, rFactor in the background there. Looked like he got a bit loose there. Let's hop on board. Yeah. Oh, that was very much like Kimi Räikkönen when he took the barrier out around about 4 or 5 years ago. Just on that section there, got it all a bit loose, spun round and into the barriers. But he hung on to his position there. So Tinnis is still hunting down the Kaiser, about half a second behind. Looking further up, SFAL has dropped a little bit away from Kill City in 1st. I think, again, it's playing the long game very much with a race of this length. We've still got 2.5 hours to go. So I imagine we're going to see probably 2 or 3 drivers drop out before the end of the evening. And you've also got people like Rotters, who has already pitted, gone for a change of tyres, may have selected the wrong tyres in advance, but the race can still come back to him. It's not over. This is a long haul. So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. So Kaiser seems to be drawing Tinnis in the house in 8th, along with him as they're catching up on flawed algorithm in 6th. So Tinnis may just be playing the waiting game here because these guys in 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th are really not that far apart. So, but again, we're likely to see fairly settled driving here to start with, just to keep things fairly sensible, because at this point in the race, you can only lose it. We're nearly sort of quarter of an hour in, but all you can do is lose the race at this point. You can't, you're unlikely to make a manoeuvre now that is actually going to win the race for you. And so it's all about keeping that patience and letting the race come back to you, because otherwise you're going to end up with a sort of egg on your face because you've gone for something early, trying to be the hero, and it's not going to give you any benefit. So looking at the forecast for the next 10 minutes, it looks like the rain is going to get heavier. So at the moment, I would say that this is going to stay fairly settled, because there's no point in anything trying to be brave, maybe changing to a different sort of type of tyre, or going for slicks or something like that, because that's not going to give you any advantage, particularly in these conditions. So at the moment, I think this is going to be fairly settled. This battle, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, I think is probably where we've got the best action at the moment. We'll just stick with this one. Just referring back to the lead battle, Kill City's now settled into his Skeletric type groove, and he's up nearly a second gap on Fowl. So Fowl was hassling Kill City for a number of laps there, but he does seem to have sort of dropped away just that little bit at the moment. So as I was saying, Kaiser was the one that was dragging Tinnis in the house up to Flawed Algorithm in 6th. And here we go. As they come in towards the club chicane, Kaiser's gone round the outside, and now Flawed Algorithm is a sandwich between Kaiser and Tinnis in the house. So I would imagine Tinnis is going to want to get by fairly quickly. Kaiser running extremely wide there as they run down the new F1 start finish straight past the wing building. So Kaiser now pulling a little bit of a gap there on Flawed Algorithm, who had to compromise his line. And we'll just hop back because I think Tinnis is going down the inside. Here we go. But Flawed Algorithm is on the inside for the next corner. This is where Alonso was so brave in the Formula 1 sprint race and made up so many positions. But Tinnis has got him. He's got him round the outside. Fantastic mover there. So Tinnis is now up to 7th and literally half a lap. Flawed Algorithm has dropped from 6th down to 8th. So we'll move back a bit, see what movers and shakers we've got. Matthew Asbrecht, he's down there in 9th, a little bit of a gap each side of him. DH Racing, one of our pit lane starters, is in 10th and now coming under pressure from Lucas, who had a little bit of an incident earlier on, dropped down the field, but now is working his way back up. And it just shows the price you pay if you make a mistake in these early stages. So coming across to complete another lap. Lucas Brain coming up in his Ferrari under the rear wing of DH's Porsche. Most likely attempt here, I would say, is probably going to be at... DH is going defensive into the Beckett's complex. That's brave. Lucas is trying to go around the outside. That would be brave beyond brave. DH Racing has made a mess of it there. And he's really blocked Lucas there. He was across the gravel, lost a lot of speed. Lucas did very well not to cannonball him off the road. But now Lucas is on the right-hand side of him and has actually made the move already. And DH is trying to tuck into slipstream there, but Lucas has already got the move done as they head down towards Stowe. So that gets him clear. So let's just have a look, see where we've got other movers and shakers. The biggest loser at the moment, unfortunately, Rotters, who went in for the pits on the first lap and then picked up the pit lane speeding penalty. So unfortunately, that has really cost him, and he is being lapped. He's been lapped down to 9th at the moment. So, lapped by all the drivers up to 9th. So that's really putting him a little bit out of sync at the moment. But it may come back in the pit stops a little bit later on. So it's not over, as they say, until the fat lady sings. So we'll just pop up back to the lead battle. Kill City. And just as we do, SFL has got a move done. So it looks like that must have happened at the end of the Wellington straight. We just missed that, but SFL has been working hard on the back of Kill City. He had dropped away a little bit. Now he closed back up and he's got the move done. And the interesting thing is Locker, who was about 3.5 seconds behind a couple of laps ago, is now actually up just 1.7 behind Kill City. So this battle for the lead is getting quite feisty, despite the fact we've got an awful long way to go. So let's just have a quick look on YouTube, see if we've got any comments. Hope you're all out there watching and enjoying this. You're in here for the long haul. Ben Milden has commented that he's got a quality fail again. And the Sunday racer says, turns the names off, making it look tacky. Now, I don't disagree with you. However, I'm relatively new to this series, so I need all the help I can get. I might have a look at that in a minute. We're going to have a go. But it'll be a little bit like commentating blindfold. Now, I'm sure that'll be exciting for everyone at home, but I'm not sure that'll be the great one for me. And I'm not actually sure how we turn it off. So if you're still listening there, drop in the comments, tell me how to turn those off, and we can give a go for it, and I can try and elevate myself to a more professional level. And, I like to please everybody out there that's watching. So look at this battle for the lead at the moment. Assetto has got by. He's got about a second on Kill City, so he had a little bit of pace in his pocket that we weren't seeing earlier. But Locker in third there is not overly catching Kill City. He's still about 1.6 behind, which he was before. And then there's that quite a buffer up to Ben Milden in fourth. Now it's interesting, just looking back there, the Kaiser has got by Quado, who's the driver that Ben passed a few laps ago. Sorry, Ben Milden that was. And now Quado looks like he's coming under pressure from Tinnis in the house. So I think we're going to see a move here. It looks like Tinnis is looking in all sides. This looks more like touring car racing than GT racing. As Tinnis looks left, looks right, trying to get by that Ferrari in his Bentley. Now, is he going to try Hamilton up the cops? It looks like he is. He's getting alongside. Is Quado going to squeeze him? Has Tinnis got it on the brakes? Yes, he has. That wasn't Hamilton Verstappen. That was Hamilton Leclerc, because the Ferrari just jumped out of the way. And I think Tinnis is very much keen on keeping hold of the Kaiser in front. Now, the one that they're after is Ben Milden. So they are about 8 seconds behind. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Very much we've got that battle up the front at the moment is quite close, but everybody else has fairly well settled out. So apart from DH Racing, who was one of our pit lane starters, and he's decided to go for the pits, and we're only 20 minutes in. So the rain is still forecast to be coming for the next sort of 5 to 15 minutes. So I can't think he's going for slicks unless he's got some very brave strategy that we haven't thought of. But I'm not quite sure why he was pit so early. I'm sure it's part of a well thought out strategy, but I'm not sure why he would do that. Let's have a look what else we've got going on. Close company. Locker has dropped back. Now Quado's been passed by Tinnis. I think the next one onto him is probably going to be Flawed Algorithm. But moving back up. Good evening, Sean Cole. How are you? Nice to hear from you. Why aren't you out racing on this? Why aren't you giving Ben a hard time? Your partner in crime. You should be out there. Great to hear from you. Hope you're enjoying what you're watching and listening to. But I know Sean Cole, who's commented in the YouTube stream there, is a close compatriot of Ben Milden, and they race together as a team in some other series. So I'm sure he will be cheering Ben on. Ben's doing quite well at the moment. He's up to fourth. And the Kaiser is not making progress. If anything, Ben is making progress towards Locker in third. Because it was about 7.5 seconds gap. It's now about 6.2. And the Kaiser has dropped about a second on Ben. So Ben is the one on the move again up towards Locker. So, and looking up this battle for the lead, it has settled out somewhat. Because we have Kill City has dropped about 2 seconds behind Assetto. Now, it may be a case that he's playing the long game. He may have looked at it and thought, well, yeah, I've been overtaken, but, I've got, over 2.25 hours left of this race, so there's no point in, burning myself up, burning my tyres out, causing myself an extra pit stop. I'll just let Assetto make the running, and then, later in the race, I'll come back at it. So, the joys of life apparently are overtaking Sean Cole. We know of that. It affects all of us, so he's going to be back racing soon. So it'd be great to see you out there, Sean, and be commentating on you. I enjoy it. And we've come across each other in the past, so I'll be looking forward to seeing you back out there giving Ben and all these other drivers a hard time. So look at this lead battle. Kill City, it's ebbing and flowing. It's interesting that gap between first, second, and third. There was an even 2 seconds between first and second and third, and now it's tightening up a little bit again. Second half of the gaps, and they are dropping in fourth. Ben Milden a little bit. He was 6.5 seconds behind him. He's now 8.4, so he's lost a little bit of time there. So these three at the front do seem to be the guys that have shaken their way up to the top of the pack, and they're the ones that have got the performance, certainly at this stage of the race. So let's just work our way down. Everybody else has settled out fairly well at the moment. So there's nobody that particularly I can jump on board with where I think we're going to get too much excitement, apart from the Kaiser, who is quite close behind. Oh, that was a move we hadn't spotted. Tinnis has dropped away from. Sorry, has not dropped away from. What am I talking about? Tinnis has overtaken the Kaiser because Tinnis was hanging in the wings there of the Kaiser, and as the Kaiser overtook somebody 2 or 3 corners later, Tinnis was overtaking the same driver, and seemed to be having a watching brief and minding his own business. But now the Kaiser has been overtaken by Tinnis, and Tinnis is now gapping him. He's got a second gap on him. And he's now obviously decided that he wants to get his claws in the back of Ben Milden, who's about 8.7 seconds up the road. So we'll move back because the next one that seems to be making some progress is in the background there. We now jumped on with them, is Quado and Flawed Algorithm, because they are very close, within a second of each other. And Quado seems to be the one that took advantage of the earlier errors by other drivers and got himself well up. I think he was around about 5th, maybe even 4th. But now the pace of the other drivers has sort of swamped him as time has gone on. And he's sort of falling back into the clutches. And let's have a look. How are pit lane starters doing? One of them was Tinnis. Now he's up to 5th. Now either he missed the cut-off time because you have to enter before the sighting lap starts, so he may have missed that, which is why he dropped back. But he started from the pit lane. He's up to 5th, which is a cracking move after just 22 minutes. Sorry, 27 minutes. And DH Racing, well, he's pitted as well. So he was making moves up the field, but he's down in 13th. But again, strategy may come to him because we're half hour in. The tyres at best on these cars will last an hour. The wets generally, the wet track will keep the temperature of the tyre down. It will mean that they won't get quite so much wear. Obviously, if it starts to dry out, you will, the tyres start to overheat. So the wet tyres, if you start using them into the oh, we've got a move position, I think. Sorry, I was just distracted there because something didn't look quite right, and I've just spotted it. Locker, who was in 3rd, is now in 2nd. He's got by Kill City, and it's by quite such a gap that I think Kill City must have made a mistake, because there was around about a second or so gap, and then next time I looked out on screen, Kill City had dropped behind Locker. It wasn't in front of him by a second, he's behind him by 1.5 seconds. So I would imagine Kill City has made a mistake there of some form, which we didn't see on screen. But that has certainly changed things around. Kill City, who we know driver got very good pace and has been very competitive in these races, which is why he's leading the championship, is, in these dark, wet conditions, has not got the pace that, certainly the 2 guys in front had. They're not certainly running away, but, Locker has pulled a 2.5 on Kill City in no time at all. So it may be a case that Oh, Kill City, what was going on there? That was definitely, if that's not a track limits issue, I do not know what is. Coming out of the Beckett's complex, he was so far left, he was nearly in the spectator area and shot back out in front of, oh no, hang on a minute, we're getting a wires crossed here. Locker has taken the lead there. Kill City, Esfel, mate, was the one that made the mistake. He's down in third. So we didn't quite catch that because it all happened in the background there. But Esfel was the one that made the mistake. Locker was starting to catch him, and Esfel made a mistake. Now, Esfel's got to do it all over again on Kill City, but this time it's for Esfel trying to get up to second from his current third place, whereas before he was trying to overtake Kill City for the lead. And the big winner in all of this is Locker, who has jumped up to, in the last sort of couple of laps, from third to first. And the other one that's coming is Ben Milden's got the gap down between himself and third place down to around about 6 seconds. So despite the fact this is such a long race and we're only half hour into it, that, you know, they are getting quite racy up the front, and Ben using all the track and a bit more there in the background. So just bear with us there. We'll just have a quick look and see if we can work out how we can knock off those online the names above the drivers, because we've had a particular request to knock those off, and at the moment I can't quite see how we can do that. I'll just try the HUD. Let's have a look. Oh. Here we go. Okay, I'm not sure who the commenter was there, but we're going to a different level because we've dropped off the. So hopefully Sunday Racers is still listening to us out there. We've taken the name tags off. Now there is a price. You need to click subscribe and you need to click like. So if you don't do that, I'm going to put them back on. So you need to get on with it. Otherwise, you know, there's going to be trouble. So I haven't got a clue who's who here. So we'll have to go for it. Let's have a look. So Esfel on screen now. He's in the background there, still giving Kill City a hard time, which he did for about the first 20 minutes of this race before he overtook him. Here they come across the new start-finish line. That's Esfel on your screen at the moment in the Bentley, catching up with the McLaren. So he's definitely given that one a hard time. Now, he's got past him once. Now, his advantages, he knows he can get past. Disadvantages, Kill City knows where he got him, and he's obviously going to be defensive at that spot. So the big advantage, or the one that's getting the big advantage in all of this, is Locker, because he's 3.5 seconds up the road. So this is playing to him. And in the background, Ben Milden is watching brief. He's about 5.5 seconds back. But these two guys, Kill City in second and Esfel in third in the Bentley there on the screen, those two guys fighting are going to slow them down slightly. So that's going to play to the advantage of Ben Milden in fourth, as he'll hopefully will be able to close that gap. So here we go, across the start-finish line, start another lap. Can Esfel get that Bentley past the Ferrari of Kill City in front of him? This is the tightest battle on the field at the moment. Kill City's had a reprieve there, as Esfel made that mistake. He was pushing the pace and he paid the price. So here we go, through the Beckett's complex. Lights of that Bentley shining bright as we exit the complex and onto the hangar straight, where we've seen over the years some memorable manoeuvres. At the end of this is where Schumacher's brakes failed and he crashed into the barriers and broke a leg. We saw Mansell in 87 overtake Piquet. Fantastic moment. I can say that because I was there. And here we go, through the Vale section up towards Club Chicane. Esfel there in the Bentley, still got that watching brief just behind Kill City. We know these drivers are the quickest guys on the field, and it'll be interesting to see whether Esfel can make that move back past, because he's dropped from the top step to the bottom step of the podium in just one mistake. The four, and it looks like Kill City's gone wide there, coming out that first corners, and then as we go into this tricky right-left section. Oh, and Kill City's round. Oh, and he's trying to get it going again. Ben Milden's gone through. Kill City, he's not having the best night at all. He was under pressure there from Assetto, who was in third at the time. Kill City was in second. And just in that second part of that complex, the back and the front end swapped over. And it took him a little while to get going. And Ben Milden there in the other Bentley is slipped through. He's got his foot on the podium, so he's going to be well chuffed with that one. So Kill City started off fastest qualifier, pole position, and then as the race has gone on, he's gone from first to second to third, and he's now fourth. This night's really not going his way. We'll have a look at the moment and see how this all works out on the championship as it stands, as these drivers are, most of these drivers are fairly well forward. The one who I think is going to be the big winner is the guy on screen in the Bentley, is going to be Ben Milden, because he's not had the best run in the first couple of rounds. And now he's got his foot on the podium, so I think that's going to very much accelerate him up the championship charts. So looking at the front, Assetto, having had that battle with Kill City, he's now dropped away from Locker by 5.5 seconds. So Locker is the one that's worked himself through really well here. And yes, by this time, picked off the positions, been consistent, not made any mistakes. So he is in the pound seats at the moment. Now we're 36 minutes just about into this race. So it'll be interesting to see where we're going to go with pit stops in this one, because I think the weather is going to be a big factor. The time is accelerated, so we're going to see daylight in a reasonable amount of time, because even though the race is 2 hours 40 minutes, the accelerated time in the game will mean that it will actually be a longer time scale. So it will run over a longer period of time. So we should see daylight and hopefully a change in the weather, which will cause people to jump into the pits. And of course, the one thing you don't want to do is jump in the pits early, because it's wet. Your tyres are getting worn. You think, I could do with a fresh set of 4 tyres. You go in and change, and then within a lap or two, it starts to dry out. For anyone out there who's a Formula 1 fan, you'd have seen all the shenanigans at the beginning of the Hungarian Grand Prix last week. Oh, look at that. Assetto's using all the road and a little bit more. I think unless he backed off in the middle of that, that would have been a track limits warning, and you're allowed 3 of those before you get a penalty. Oh, and it looks in the background, Ben Milden has made a mistake. And it looks like Kill City has gone through, and he's now going to come under pressure from Tinnis in the house, who was our pit lane starter, and he's now looking to try and snatch a 4th place. So it looks like Ben made an error coming out of Cops up towards the Beckett's complex. He's got going again, but shadowing already. There we go. Things are updating on our timing sheet on the left-hand side. He's just 1.1 seconds in front of Tinnis. So it was all going so well for Ben. Up on the podium there, almost reaching out for the garland and the trophy, and it's been snatched away from him in one mistake. And possibly with Tinnis coming at him very quickly from behind, he may well be about to lose that 4th position, because Tinnis from the pit lane is now up to 5th place, so he has certainly got pace. So I think we're in the period where we're going to need to start thinking about what people are going to do with pit stops. So somebody has just returned to the pits. DH Racing. Oh, we've lost somebody as well. We're down to 13 racers. And DH Racing in the Porsche, from where I saw his yellow flag. Oh, and we've lost him as well. I did warn you early in the race. that we were going to lose, possibly lose races, but DH, he disappeared. I saw him have a yellow flag coming out of the Beckett's complex, which interesting is where Ben Milden had a problem as well. And talking to Ben Milden, on screen, we're on there with Tinnis in the house, but the grey Bentley in front of him is Ben Milden, and he's really, really under pressure now. The gap's down to half a second, and I think Tinnis wants that spot. Ben's looking like he's going defensive into the cops, just putting his car in the middle of the track halfway down the straight to put Tinnis off from trying to have a move. But look, he's getting even closer. They head up towards the Beckett's complex. So, and we've got another driver who has gone off the track in the background there. We're just trying to identify who it is. We'll come back to you on that one when we've worked it out. We just need an update on the timing screen, so we'll come back to you in a sec. Okay. So, just to give you a quick update as we're watching, Tinnis still giving Ben a hard time. rFactor is the driver that's left, and also DH Racing is another driver that's left. So, we're down by 2. So, we're just slipped under 2 hours to go. I know, 2 hours, that seems an awful long time, but hang in there with us. We're going to crack open the Pinot Grigio, and we're going to have a great evening. So, this is exactly where I'm saying that Rotters in 12th went for the pits after the sighting lap. He's coming back into it. You know, he may be a lap down, but these guys are dropping out, and that's what you should never, ever do in one of these endurance races. So, let's have a quick look, see if we've got any movers and shakers further down. No, we haven't. We're going to stick with this battle. We're watching Tinnis, and on your screen now, right in front is Ben Milden with Tinnis right behind him as they go into Brooklands. Ben does seem to be able to keep him behind, but it is looking awfully tight. Tinnis has definitely got speeds. Just remind you, he started from the pit lane, and he's already all the way up to 4th place and looking very closely at a podium. So if he can get a podium from the pit lane, that would be quite incredible. So let's have a look down, see who else we've got moving. Flawed Algorithm is in 8th. He's still working on Guido in 7th. They've been like that very much for a few laps, gap of around about a second. And the other one is Lucas Brain, who had a mistake earlier on, and he's in 10th at the moment, working hard on Matthew Asbrook in 9th. And again, he's about a second behind. We'll keep an eye on those guys, see if they get a little bit closer. We might jump on board. We'll jump forward to be with Ben as he works his way around Stowe, heading down towards the club section. Great area of the circuit this is for viewing. If I have my choice, when I go to club, when I go to Silverstone, club, which is just club grandstand, just to the right of where you are viewing now. You get a great view of them coming down into that section and then down the main straight. Oh, Ben's going defensive already. He must have made a mistake coming out of the club corner, or has he let Tinnis by? That almost had a look of letting him by. Now, sometimes you can get in a situation where you're losing more time defending than what you are just to give up, let the guy by and decide to follow him. So Ben may have taken that option that Tinnis is that little bit quicker, and maybe by following him, he can get him almost to drag him around with a bit of slipstream and following Tinnis's line. He can get him to drag him round because he can see that Fowl is coming at him behind. He's about 4.3 seconds back. But now Tinnis has got by. He's gapped Ben fairly quickly there by nearly a second. So Ben may have felt it's better off to let him by and to just try and follow in his wheel tracks. Oh, JR Sim Racing, thank you for that. Didn't spot that in the background. He thinks Ben clipped the curb, and that's where he lost that time coming down the Formula 1 start-finish straight. So that may well explain it. I was possibly being generous to Ben there, thinking he may have let him by, but just that slight mistake. Tinners was through, and just look how much gap he's pulling on Ben already. That's Ben on screen for you now, and Tinners just there on the bottom, and he's already pulled out nearly 1.3 seconds. So let's work our way down the field, see if we can pick up any little battles that we've got going on. Everyone seems to have, from a commentator's point of view, almost annoyingly spread themselves out. Let's have a look. Up the front though, let's just hop on board with Kill City in his McLaren. There's a guy, started off at the front, dropped to fourth, now's worked his way back up to second, but it's 11.5 seconds behind Locker. Just having a look at... Oh, yeah, no, we knew... Sorry, I thought I'd picked up on something, but I hadn't. I was thinking off the top of my head. Kill City, you know, he's been up and down a little bit like a yo-yo, but... And he had that half spin and recovered from it, but he's still 11.5 seconds back from Locker. We're 20 laps into this race. We've got an hour and 55 to go. And, you know, maybe he's just playing the long game here. He's got, 10-second gap, but if the track dries out and you do that change of tyres at the right time, that could make an awful lot of difference. JR Sim Racing. Now, you see, these guys are coming over to the commentator's side. I've got to say, he is saying that Ben, as a very experienced driver, could well have let Tinners through for the reasons that we mentioned earlier, just to let him drag himself along, and also not to cost himself too much time, because behind him he's got SVL coming, who he's got about a 3-second gap from himself in fifth to Ben Milden in fourth. So I think that gap may come down, because SVL, we know, had great speed. He's currently in fifth, but for a long period of this race he was leading. Kill City, who's on your screen now, he was leading. SVL was shadowing him for probably 15 minutes, then made his move, and then was gapping him, and then made a mistake, and that's why he's down in fifth. So it'll be interesting to see whether SVL can make that gap of 3 seconds at the moment. Let's have a look at SVL, see where he is. There he is, coming onto the hangar straight. That gap that he's got to Ben Milden. See, Tinnis has gapped Ben Milden. Tinnis in third has gapped Ben Milden in fourth to 2.6 seconds. SVL is coming at a rate of knots. He's knocked 0.7 off the gap between himself in fifth and Ben Milden in fourth by 0.7 already just in this lap. So I think our next action is going to be SVL catching Ben Milden, and this seems to be happening really quickly. Let's see if Ben Milden can draw up his inner Alonso and become the defensive god that we saw last weekend in Hungary. So where we got 1 hour 52 to go. We haven't seen any pit stops yet. Guys have been out there for 47, 48 minutes. So even with these wet tyres, I think they are going to have to start to look to pit, and maybe with the field as well is where they will have to look to pit, because I don't. So on these in these conditions, how many laps that these guys can do before they're going to need to pit? So, because I think the Bentley is the car with the biggest fuel tank. And then the Bentleys have got a big fuel tank and can go for a long time, which does give them more options. And as we can see, third to sixth, there are the Bentleys shadowing the Ferrari in the lead and the McLaren in second place. Interesting, looking down the leads there, the Bentleys seem to be hunting in the group, and the Ferrari seem to be hunting in the group. It's like the Masai Mara and the lions hunting in the group for the gazelles, that they're all hiding together in a pack. Excuse me for my slight simile there, it just seemed appropriate at the time. So let's see who we've got. We've got Flawed Algorithm still shadowing Oh, cameraman, come on. I'm going to need to sack you if you're not actually going to get on the game here. Flawed Algorithm in 8th is still shadowing Quado in 7th. Now, looking at the livery of these two, I think they are teammates. So this may be the reason that Flawed Algorithm has decided that it's better to be the team player. It's better to be a how should we say, a George Russell rather than a Michael Schumacher, and sit behind his teammate, and let's bank these points for 7th and 8th. They're 11-12 seconds up the road from the Kaiser, who is in 6th, and they're clear of Lucas in 9th by 8.3 seconds. So maybe there's a bit of Ferrari team logic going on with these two guys here. So let's scoot our eyes round. Looking at the front, Kill City nearly 10 seconds now behind Locker, who is leading. Locker won the first round, and Kill City, I think, won the second round. I will just have to double check that. I'm doing that off the top of my head, which is always a bit of a dangerous thing in these endurance races, because we've just got to put our finger on the pulse of where we exactly are at the moment. So Kill City, he won the second race, and Locker won the first race. So I think when we do our rough tot up, okay, we do a rough tot up that Locker and Kill City are going to be the guys very much definitely out in front. So looking at these two Ferraris, though, that's Flawed Algorithm on your screen at the moment, and just in front of him you can see is Quado. There seems very much a team effort going on here, because Flawed Algorithm is not making any. Oh, just as I say that, Flawed Algorithm is taking the very much agricultural route. Now, for older watchers, you'll remember this was the comment made about Jackie Stewart back in, I think, 1973. So bear with me. So I'm off on one of my waffling stories here. You need to look this up on YouTube. In the good old days of Silverstone, when it was still just a perimeter track, the inside field was still farming land, and it was like long grass. Oh, it was long grass waiting to be harvested. And Jackie Stewart in his Tyrrell lost control. I think it was through club, and ended up going through the long stuff, and literally you couldn't see the car because the grass was higher than the car itself. And there was the great old commentator, which will come to my mind, and it's not Murray Walker, it was one before him, in a very clipped English. And there's Jackie Stewart. He's right in amongst the agricultural stuff. So that's where I got that comment from, as Flawed Algorithm went agricultural all across the Beckett chicane. So let's see who we've got movers and shakers. SFL. So as you can see, we are updating our technology here at Mudley Talker Towers. So I actually have the ability now to see on screen, and you can't because this is how good our technology is, that we can comment on we can see the YouTube comments straight away. And JR Sim Racing, thank you for contributing. We'd love to see it. Is that they're commenting that it's a 488 lawnmower, so slightly harsh on probably £150,000 worth of road car level Ferrari, but yeah, it was doing a fairly good job of doing the council's job of cutting the grass there. So let's have a look. What's JR Sim Racing also said? Kaiser must have damage or playing the strategy game. Well, talking of playing the strategy game, the one that we hadn't noticed there while I was wafting around with my old stories is Locker had gone for a pit stop. So, and Quedo's just dropping the pits, but Locker from the lead has gone for the pits. Now, we knew roughly an hour was probably going to be about the limit of fuel, and for tyres, particularly if it had been dry. Wet's not so much, but Locker has very much pulled the trigger on that. Quado's gone as well, but he was a bit further down. So let's just have a look. So the one we would probably expect to go next is Kill City. Not sure quite how that McLaren runs compared to the Ferrari and the Bentley on fuel. But he's gone by the pit entrance there, and he's heading down the main straight towards Copse Corner. So he's deciding he's not pitting at the moment. Yeah, JR Sim Racing, will it trigger everyone else? I'm not sure. Good question. Kill City's gone by the pit entrance that time round, so nobody else seems to have gone. I'm wondering if it's tank capacity, because we know the Bentley has got particularly big tank capacity, and it may be that Ferrari or Locker has been forced to stop literally because of fuel. And if that's the case, we are 55 minutes in. So 55, yeah, they would make it just about on 2 stops. So if you were doing 2 hours 40 minutes and splitting into 3 stops, you would be on about 55-minute windows. So maybe these other guys are going a little bit longer just to give them a bit of an option further on. Or maybe they're hanging on, hoping that things are going to dry out, because it's still wet now and predicted to be wet for a little while. So it might be a case that they are deciding it's time to, drag things out a little bit longer just to give themselves options. Particularly if it suddenly starts to dry up, they're going to save themselves a pit stop. As I'm looking at the screen, it does appear to be getting a little bit lighter. So it does look like we are heading towards morning. So if the rain starts to stop, is that a comment? I've drummed up my inner Murray Walker there. I've started the stopwatch or stopped the start watch, one of the two. But if the rain does start to ease, which is probably a better comment, we could possibly see everybody diving for the pits. So talking of action, let's drop on board with Assetto in 4th, who is catching Ben Milden. And he's been sat there for a little while. So let's see where, because the one, see, Locker has already pulled the trigger. Now, he was 10 seconds ahead. Locker was 10 seconds ahead of Kill City. But Kill City is not going for the pits, and nobody else is as well. We're approaching the hour now. So I'm quite surprised that nobody else has gone for the pits. Comment in from Ash Wilson. Yep, it's Lashing Dune. I assume you are from north of the border of Hadrian's Wall. And I do get Keaton plus signs on my web. Now, yeah, actually on screen, I will give you it's definitely Lashing Dune more than it was a little while ago. So maybe these wet tyres, they've got a chunky block on the tread pattern, a bit like you've got on road tyres. But they do still wear. They're a much softer compact. Oh, and Assetto's just gone deep there. He's heading into the club section of the circuit. And having been given Ben Milden a hard time, he's dropped a good 2.5 seconds behind there, I would say. So Ben Milden will be breathing a big sigh of relief. But we are still waiting for pit stops to happen, and we're just about to tick on the hour. And even with those Bentleys with the big fuel tanks, and in this wet weather they won't be using anywhere near as much fuel, they will, they have got to stop eventually, and this is not going to be a single stopper. I can't see in any way, shape or form. But yeah, going back to the tyres, they've got these chunky blocks which do wear down. They're softer than your average road tyres because obviously they don't get anywhere near the mileage. But the main concern is if it starts to dry out, they will get grip to a certain point. But those blocks they're designed to be soft, and they will move and they create heat, and then they go all soft and very much like licorice. And then you end up with the tread basically coming off the tyre, and very quickly you're down to canvas, so they can't get to that section. And when I've raced myself on ACC, you end up finding yourself looking for the wet sections of the track, just to cool the tyres, particularly when you get those, in between times where dry lines are starting to appear. You need to find those wet sections of the track to reduce the temperature of your tyres to make sure that they don't overheat, and then the lumps start shearing off. So let's have a look. Who else have we got moving and shaking? We've got Kill City. Let's just see. He got 6.5 seconds over Tennis in the House. But the unknown here is his pit strategy, because we're just about to click on the hour since we started this event. And of the leading pack, Locker is the only one who started. Now, he's pitted from first, and he's now down in 9th. So that's, he's really shuffled his way down the pack. And I just think at the moment, if we were playing poker, I think the dealer is just shuffling his hand and just waiting to lay those cards out, because I think it's all going to kick off in a minute. So don't go anywhere. Don't go watching Coronation Street or EastEnders. This is where it's all going to happen. Sorry, I had to intervene there as I just need to summon my butler to refill my glass of wine. That's something you don't hear from Martin Brundle, is it? You don't get that quality of commentary from Sky Sports that you do on the Apex Online Racing channel. So I think this is really going to kick off a minute. Yeah, and I'll go back to Ash Wilson. I may have made slight observations about the Scottish style of his comment, but it is definitely raining very heavily now. Now, interestingly, Locker will be out on a fresh set of wets, will have a deeper tread, and should have that bit more grip to give him a bit more speed. Whereas these guys, like Kill City, who's on screen now, and Tinnis and Ben Milden, will have worn wets, so those grooves on their tyres won't be anywhere near as deep. I'm going to risk hopping up to timetable. No, I won't risk hopping up timetables at the moment, because my director-producer, we have upgraded things here at Mudley Talker Towers, and we have a director and producer working beside me. Normally, unfortunately, he's just zipped off to get me a new glass of wine, but he's working on all that technical side. So if we get a problem, he's able to dive in and fix it. So, sorry, I've just sent him off for a glass of wine, and I've got to say, the glass of wine that I've just received is, if you brought down a restaurant, you'd be really disappointed. Now, I was just going to try the timetables and see if it all goes past. And that's that horrible moment where the director catches his leg in the lead to your headphones. So let's just try timetables and see what happens. So that doesn't actually tell us anything on lap times to gaps that are improving. So we won't go very much further on that one in case it all goes pear-shaped. So we are over the hour. 1 hour, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and nobody else has pulled the trigger. JR Sim Racing, I think your comment was about 10, 12 minutes ago. Will this trigger everyone? It doesn't seem to be. I don't know what they're doing. Are they running very much down? One of the options you've got with these cars is you can wind down the power. You can make the ECU run at a much lower power option. And like anything, if you run it at a lower power, you use less fuel. And maybe that's what these guys are doing and stretching their run out. We could possibly be looking at a one-stopper. Now, I think that'll only work if it stays wet. But I can't believe they could go for an hour and 20 minutes. But they've gone for nearly an hour and 5. So it's not impossible. They could just be keeping one eye on the weather. Because nobody apart from, Rotters went in on the warm-up lap. So I know he's gone green on the left. As you look down the driver list on your left, you'll see that Locker, Quedo and Rotters are green beside their number. That means they've completed one pit stop. Now, only Locker and Quedo have done that at like a reasonable race distance. So they've committed themselves to a two-stopper. It may be that Kill City, Tinnis and Milden have got a plot here that they can actually make that work on a one-stopper. Now, they've got to go for another 15 minutes. Now, I'm just jumping on board with Ben Milden because Esfal, who made that mistake a few laps ago, has now got his Bentley up behind Milden. So it's Milden first on your screen and Esfal coming through second. So Esfal is now on the tailgate of that Bentley of Ben Milden. And he's got that gap down to 0.6 of a second. The other one, again, see those two Ferraris, the flawed algorithm and Lucas Brain, they're still working. Oh, the flawed algorithm actually is in front of Lucas now, but they're not making really much of a gap there between themselves. That's down in 6th and 7th, but at the moment we'll just stay on board with this battle between Ben Milden, as you can see on the screen first, and following behind is Esfal. As they come round to complete another lap. Come on, guys, it's all gone a bit quiet in the comments. I hope you're all still there. I'm hanging in there, so I hope you guys are too. These guys have got to hang on for another 14 minutes to make this to a one-stopper. If they can make this a one-stopper, I will be absolutely amazed. They will be the fleet manager's dream of their tyres and fuel consumption. And they will, if they can drag this out that long, that will be absolutely incredible. And the big winners at the moment, Tinnis in the house up there in second, started in the pit lane. Yes, I'm not making that up. He started in the pit lane and he's up there in second. And Sop Milden, that's Ben Milden, he's there in third. He started, qualified around about 10th. So those two guys have done an absolutely incredible job. Esfal, that's Ben Milden on the screen there now, just heading the brakes, and just behind him there is Esfal in fourth. Now, we have got a pit stop happening. It's flawed algorithm in 7th. Don't think it's going to make a major difference. Him and Lucas Brain have been working together as teammates. I think we're going to stick on this one. It looks like Esfal is really on the case of Ben Milden. He is right under the rear wing of that other Bentley. As they head through the first section, they're switching back. Oh, he's looking a bit slidey in the background. Ben's still got this one at the moment. Esfal looking really racy behind him at the moment. Here we go. Coming around as they're heading out towards the Wellington Straight. Ben seems to have built a bit of breathing space there as they head down towards the Brooklands and Woodcote complex. But Esfal is looking really racy there. Now, we saw Ben earlier let Tinnis go because he decided, well, we weren't sure. Either he made a mistake running on the curbs. Oh, was that a bit of a touch there? It may just have been a bit of a lag on my screen there, but it looked like they got awfully close there. Keeping an eye out again for pit stops. 1 hour 8 gone. I think they're trying to hang this out for a single stop. Oh, Esfal's looking to go the inside. He's trying to do a Howland. No, he decides better of it. Ben's holding his line. He's in front. He's got track position. He's hanging on to it. So they head up towards the Beckett's complex. Esfal is really close. He's really close behind the other Bentley. Running as much curb as they dare through this. Really exciting section this is. You go in flat out and you drop gradually down the gears until the last section here, and then you flat out all the way down the hangar straight. Now it looks like Ben's made a good job of getting through the Beckett's complex there and has pulled a little bit of a gap on Esfal as they head down. Look at the rain or the water swashing. Oh, and Esfal launches it down the inside from a long way back. He had to send a postcard out, was so far away. And he's got the job done. Fantastic job there by Assetto. Got himself through into third place onto the podium. Ben Milden dropped down to fourth. But the two Bentley swap positions there. So what are these drivers going to do now? We've got the situation coming up now, obviously, with pit stop. Oh, Ben looking a bit loose there again in the background. JR Sim Racing, he mentioned that earlier, thought that Ben had made a bit of a mistake on that corner club as it came onto the F1 start-finish straight, and he'd done exactly the same thing there. So maybe he's just overdriving a little bit, and maybe just the grip has gone away from him, just a touch. Oh no! Assetto spins round. He just snatched the position there. There he's trying to recover off the grass. It's terrible when you're trying to do that. You're just trying to tap the throttle and get it off. So Assetto did all that hard work to catch up with Ben Milden, who's on your screen now. And now he's thrown it all the way. Look, you can't even see him in the background. He's so far behind. That was Christmas, Easter and birthday all rolled in together there for Ben Milden. So he's cleared off. So we're still looking here for pit stops. Does nobody want to pit? Have they turned the field off? Are they all short shifting at 3,500, 4,000 revs? This is incredible. We've got 1.5 hours left to go in this race. And nobody wants to pit. Locker's had to go early. He's definitely gone for a 2-stop strategy. He can't make this work on a 1-stop. But everybody else is still out there. Even the other Ferraris. You've got Lucas Brain in 6th, Matthew Esbrick in 7th. They're both in the Ferraris as well, but they've not had to pit. Flawed Algorithm in the other Ferrari, he's pitted, but now it's dropped him right out. He's down in 10th. So, Ben Milden there on screen. He's going to be really chuffed with that one. He really had the pressure on for lap after Assetto, and as soon as he got by, he spun it out. So, he's now dropped 8 seconds behind Ben Milden. Okay. So Kaiser is the first of the leading pack to pit in the Bentley. He's the first Bentley to pit at long last. We did wonder to see if anyone was going to pit tonight. So he has eventually pitted. We've got 1 hour 28 left. I don't think he can make that work in a single stop. But what he can do is not change tyres next time, just do a splash and dash. And that will only cost him stationary probably 3 or 4 seconds. So looks like he's dropped down. He's on his way and he is coming out 6th. Now, it'll be interesting to see how does he shake out compared to Locker, because he's gone for the long haul on the first one. Locker went just after the hour, or just for the hour. Oh, and who's that just coming by in there? Oh, is that Matthew Asbury? We'll just let the order. So, yeah, the Kaiser has dropped out behind Locker in. Locker's dropped, he's come up to 7th, and the Kaiser has dropped out in 9th. So that probably falls out about in roughly order. So no particular undercut has worked there. Sneaky 24 Ninja is there in 8th, just in front of him. But I think with those fresh tyres, I think that Bentley of Kaiser is going to be by that Ferrari. Oh, sorry, it's Flawed Algorithm. He's finding these timing screens are updating. And because I've turned off the driver names at the request of one of our viewers and feedbackers, I am obviously having to allow for the timing screen on the left to catch up. So Kaiser on screen there is dropped in behind Flawed Algorithm, who is also pitted. So it does suggest, oh, Kaiser's going the inside Flawed Algorithm up into the first corner of the F1 circuit. Got the move done. So, but Kaiser now, it's interesting that Kaiser was not battling with Flawed Algorithm before. Oh, and we've just lost a driver. We've just lost Kill City, who was in the lead. Oh, that must be disconnection. Oh, that is so unfortunate. You're leading you're in the lead of the championship. You're in the lead of the race, and you disconnect. Now, it's possible you could possibly jump in and rejoin, I believe, but obviously he will be towards the back of the pack, but he will be able to
collect some points. So that is unfortunate. But incredibly, they are in first, 33 laps in. Tennis in the House is... Oh, Tennis in the House is currently showing in the lead. Kill City is showing up in third. I think we have a connection issue there. We'll keep an eye on that. He's dropping to fourth. Let's just hop on board and see where he is. He is in the pit, so he has rejoined. This will sort of give him effectively a pit stop. Oh, and Locker has jumped back into the pits as well. What is that all about? The track's still wet. There's no reason for him. He's on screen there now. There's no reason for him to go back into the pits. I don't know why he's done that. Unless he's got an hour and 25 to go, I don't think he can make that a one stop. Unless he's had an incident which we didn't see. And that's caused him to jump back to the pits. But, oh, this is all going all over the place all of a sudden. Let's hop on board with our lead. So, Tennis in the House, he started from the pit lane. Yep, the pit lane. And he's now leading the race. We're nearly halfway into the race. 34 laps down, just 5 minutes to halfway. He's yet to pit. I think he's going for a one-stopper, which I think is absolutely incredible. Because you normally look at Assetto Corsa and you think, an hour is about what you can do with tyres and fuel and so on. But these guys have obviously worked it out. They've turned the fuel down, I would imagine. They've been gentle on the tyres. And particularly Tennis, starting from the pit lane, this is absolutely incredible. He's 13 seconds up the road from Ben Milden in second, who has started, I think, around about 10th. And he's had his little battles with Kill City, with Tennis, and with SFL, but he's shuffled his way up to second. Now, the one we want to just see what's happening, who is the Rotters has gone for the pit again. Now, he was down in 12th. Now, he went for the pits on the sighting lap, so he's a little bit out of contention, but he's still going to pick up some good points there. So, Kill City is out. There he is on your screen now. Just coming out of the pit lane. Now, he's in 10th, but he's a guy we know's got a lot of speed. So, I think he's somebody we really want to keep an eye on, because I think he's going to work his way through the field. And we just dropped to 11, so it looks like we've just lost somebody else. I'm just trying to see if I can spot immediately. I think it might be DH Racing. No, I think we lost them earlier. I'm just looking down to see Locker. We've lost Locker. Now, that's big news in the championship, because Locker was well up in the championship. He was leading this race. He pitted early, which was okay. That was fine. He was going for a two-stop. Probably wouldn't have worked overall, but he's just gone for another pit. Now, I imagine he may have had an incident, caused damage to his car, and decided he's not going to be able to make a decent result out of this. Kill City, all credit to him, is deciding he can make a result out of this. He's disconnected, not his fault. He's come back into the field at 10th, 2 laps down, but he's going for it. So I think it's not shown that he's completed the pit stop, which does seem slightly odd, because he was in the pits. So, but we'll have to see how this shakes out. But there he is on screen, Kill City, absolutely flat out now, trying to work his way back up through the field. Now, Lucas Brain, he's just gone for the pits. He was up in 4th. So, be interested to see where he shakes out, because I think we've got 1 hour 22 left. So, we're almost halfway. But I think this is where we're going to see the trigger pulled. Now, guys, YouTube guys, you've all gone a bit quiet. I need to hear from you. We're into the pit stop window. What's going on? What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to shake out at the top of this? Because Tennis and Milden are the 2 top guys at the moment. But as somebody like Kaiser, who's pitted earlier, do you think they're going to come up through? I need to hear from you. It's all gone a bit quiet. The weather seems stable. We're still predicted rain for the next sort of 10 to 15 minutes. So it's not backing off at the moment. So let's have a quick look. So we've got Kill City there. I'm just trying to see who we've got that's going to possibly be able to make a move. Lucas Brain and Flawed Algorithm, I believe they are same team-wise, were they? No, they're not. No, not Lucas Brain. I think it was Quido. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Quido. Now, Quido possibly has picked up some damage in that first section. Quido's on your screen now. Now, he is dropped a little bit behind his teammate, Flawed Algorithm. So I'd imagine that was possibly down to a delayed pit stop. And with Assetto Corsa, your main delay on the pit stop is damage, because you go in and you have a standard tyres feel is 30 seconds a stationary time. If you've got any damage, it's then added onto the top of that. So I'd imagine, whereas Flawed Algorithm and Quido were running quite close together earlier, they were actually that's where the differences come into it. And that's it. We've just clicked over halfway in this race, so we've got an hour and 20 to go. So the top 5, apart from Matthew Asbury, who is just pitted, top 5 have yet to pit. So come on, YouTubers, you're out there watching. We can see you watching. You can't hide. Let's have some comments. Who do you think's going to pit first? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, Stuart Packham. Good evening. How are you? I can't actually use his racing name on this channel because we'd end up being 18 rated. But Stuart Packham, I have had some great races, an incredibly fast racer, and I won't give you that much credit too often. The first part of his name is Lager. I'm not going to mention the second one because I'll get banned. But I think I'm in agreement. Stuart Packham saying that he's gutted for Kill City. He said if anyone can recover from that, it will be him. It's going to be a big ask. He's down there in 10th, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm rooting for him. A disconnect is really painful, but he may have just had a gift. Matthew Asbury has a stop and go 30-second, which I think is probably for track limits. So I think speeding the pit lane just gives you a drive through. So I think that is going to help Kill City work his way back up the order. But still, the top 4 have not pitted, and particularly the ones we're looking at is Tinnis, Milden, Fell, because they are the genuine top 3 at the moment. Oh no, what happened to Locker? JR Sim Racing is commenting on that one. Locker, I think he had some kind of incident. He took a second pit stop. He had that early pit stop around about 45-50 minutes. He went for a second pit stop about 5 or 7 minutes ago, and then he left. So I imagine he may have had an incident and damage and decided to call it a day. I think your comment about Bentley's dominating, I don't think it's a true domination. I think it's big fuel tanks, if I'm honest. I think that's why they're hanging on at the moment. I think I think that's why they're out there so long. But I don't understand. They've gone over the half race distance. Why not get in, get the fresh tyres, and get the maximum out of that second set of tyres? Every lap you do now, you're doing it on really worn tyres, where you could have a nice, fresh, chunky set of wet tyres. Why aren't you in there pitting? I don't understand it. They could be that they're just in the groove, they're happy where they are, and they're just going to run it until the fuel runs out. And obviously they don't want to go all the way till the fuel runs out, because that could be quite embarrassing. And we all know what happened to Sebastian Vettel when he ran out of fuel last weekend. He got disqualified. Let's have a look. Oh, JR Sim Racing. Is AOR console commentary expanding, I hope you mean, to other classes, or is just the R Enduro League for the minute? I have got no idea. I'm a complete tart. Oh, I'll come back to you on JR Sim Racing on that one. So Tinnis and Ben Milden have both pitted at the same time. So with 1 hour 16 to go. Oh, and SVAL's gone in as well. So all 3 leaders have pitted on this same lap. Why have they waited this long? Why have they waited that 2 or 3 minutes longer? You could, we're not going to get a massive undercut, but you don't know whether your competitors have got damage. Go for something different. Don't just follow. Don't be sheep. What are they doing? Anyway, so I think maybe this is going to bring Sneaky Ninja out if he hangs in there for another lap as the leader. Is Sneaky Ninja going to get... He's coming up down the Wellington Straight. I think he's too far behind, if I'm honest. Yeah, I think Tinnis is leaving the pits. Yeah, here we go. Giacomo out of the pit exit up towards the Beckett's complex. So, should be behind him. We should be seeing Ben's leaving as well. And 83 had a stop and go. That was Matthew Asbury. Yes, we saw that. And then SVAL, he's coming out in 3rd. And, oh, who's just in front of him there? Oh, I think that's a lap car. Oh, I hope it's a lap car because he just slid by. That's either Flawed Algorithm or Guido because they were, I think, a lap adrift. No, it must be Guido. Let's have a quick look. No, it's neither of those. Okay, well, we'll hop back to Ben Milden there in 2nd. So the 2 drivers at the top, they've come from nowhere. Tinnis started from the pit lane. And then Ben Milden in 2nd, he started. Ben Milden is one on screen at the moment, number 111. He started around about 10th. So it shows qualifying, it really isn't that important. Now, the one that's going to get a little bit of a pain here a little bit later on is Kill City, unfortunately. He had that disconnect, rejoined, started from the pits. But unfortunately, his problem is it doesn't identify that he's had a pit stop. So he will need to take a pit stop before the end of the race. Otherwise, he will clout quite a penalty. Let's go back to the YouTube comments. JR Sim Racing. Is AOR console commentary expanding to other classes? I have no idea. Or is it just Enduro? Hello. Back to it. As soon as I talk about JR Sim Racing comments, something happens on screen. Ben Milden, fresh set of chunky rubber, and got it all horribly wrong. And he's got to be really careful about that because in the background you can see SVAL is coming. And we know SVAL is quick because he was leading the race early on, having got by Kill City. So he really is. Ben Milden has got to be careful this one because otherwise that 2nd step of the podium is going to become the 3rd at least. So I will try and answer JR Sim Racing's question on the commentary. I've got no idea, if I'm really honest. We've done this a fairly short notice request. Hope you're enjoying it. If you do, give us some feedback. If you like me, tell me. If you don't like me, make your comment somewhere else. No, really. If you like me, if you like what you hear, say so. If you'd like to hear something slightly different, or you think I could do something better, please say. I'd love to hear from you. I really do want to engage with you guys out there. So, but yeah, at the moment, I'm only doing this. Normally I do it with a guy called Daxy. We do a double act. But unfortunately, Daxy's not available tonight, so it's just me. So hopefully I'm not boring you too much. When the racing gets really quiet, I'll ramble on and on about really old F1 stories. So if you're into that stuff, this is the place to be. So, eventually, our last true pit stopper, Sneaky Ninja, has decided to go in. He's in 4th place. I think that's going to shuffle him down the order. I think Kaiser's going to pass him. I think he was down in about 8th or 9th. So I think that's probably where he's going to shuffle out. Even though you have only around about 30 seconds stationary, it's that trundling down the pit lane that's like 50 kilometres an hour, which is really what gives you the pain and causes you such a massive time loss. And at the moment he's shown he's in 6th, but I think he will drop further than that. So let's just have a quick run through the order and just talk about each guy individually. So in the lead, we've got Tinniston in the house. Now, qualified really well. I think he qualified 2nd, but decided to start from the pit lane. Now, whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. But he started from the pit lane right at the back of the field. There was a real gap. I think he was there with DH Racing. They had a bit of a gap between them and the rest of the field, but he worked his way up through the field, hasn't really made any mistakes. Had a little bit of advantage with Kill City picking up that disconnection. So he shuffled his way up to the front, pulled off some nice overtaking manoeuvres. So he's leading 40 laps in. Ben Milden there in second. Didn't have a great qualification. Hasn't had the best season so far. He's done very well in other series. And particularly with a driver called Sean Call that he runs a team with. And they really didn't hook it up. He's really hooked it up in other series, but just hasn't quite had the results that he would hope for so far. But tonight he is going to be over the moon with that third place. He started around about 10th on the grid, neatly worked his way through, and made one or two smaller errors, but not really compromised himself too much. So well-deserved second place there. In third, just coming through a Stowe down into the club complex is Assetto. Now, he's had a bit of an up and down night. He was right behind Kill City at the start, was hassling him for the first quarter of an hour, got past, made a really good move on him, got himself up to the lead, was pulling away, then made a couple of mistakes and dropped his way back down, I think to fifth at one point. But has worked his way back up to third, got up past by Ben Milden a few laps ago, and then just at this corner here, overcooked it and spun. So he's dropped back down around about 6 seconds behind Ben Milden in second there. But I think Assetto is probably going to work that gap down, and I think probably in 5 or 10 minutes, we're probably going to see a battle between Ben in second and Assetto in third there on your screen. In fourth, we got Kaiser. He was one of the earlier pit stoppers in there in the Bentley, but it has worked out for him. He's there up in fourth. Had a reasonably quiet race there. I think he had a mistake on the first lap just after the F1 start-finish straight, but has recovered nicely from that. Just behind him, 6 seconds down the road, is Flawed Algorithm. Was running with his teammate Guido for quite a bit of the race. Oh! Talking of that, who's made a mistake there? I can't quite see who that is. Oh. So I am just trying to look at who that was. Can't quite see. But in other news, Kill City has gone for the pits. Now that may be just to click off his pit stop requirement so he can go to the end. So Lucas Brain will just hop on board with him in sixth. He has had, again, a fairly quiet race. He was one of the earlier pit stoppers, I think. So I think we're going to see him going to the pits a little bit later on as well. So that might compromise his position on track. Unfortunately, we've just lost Kill City. He'd just gone for the pits again, but has obviously decided enough's enough tonight. Unfortunately, that means we're down to 10 cars. But he hung in there for a little while. I was with Stuart Packham. I thought Kill City was the guy that could make it work. But he's decided to call it a night. So Guido there in seventh was running with Flawed Algorithm, his teammate. They were running nose to tail for quite some time. He seemed to lose an awful lot of time for the pit stop, so he's dropped back there. Sneaky Ninja, he may come back to the fore later on. He's gone for the one pit stop. He was up to fourth at one point. Hang on that with that McLaren, held out for that first pit stop, way over half race distance. So you may see the ones in front of him that have got to do a second stop drop behind him. So he may have a nice little strategy coming up. Matthew Asprey is a teammate of Flawed Algorithm. I take it back. So, or I may be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, because those colour schemes are very similar. Again, guys had a fairly quiet race, but he's hanging in there in ninth, so doing a sterling performance there. So just coming around out of Woodcote onto the start-finish straight. And then Rotters, he went for the pits very early on. He went literally on the sighting lap, went into the pits. I think he has gone early for his first stop, so I think he's going to have the second stop. But he's still going to get a 10th place, and that's what endurance racing is about. It's not all about winning on the first lap. Oh, please don't spin it out on me just as I start to talk nicely about your Rotters. But yeah, Rotters on screen there. He's not worrying the leaders, but he's going to bank good points there in 10th. So if I was him, I'd be quite chuffed to where we're at. So let's work back and see who is chatting to us in YouTube. Oh, Stuart Packham's back. Quality comms. Oh, thank you. I'm struggling to work out if you're a better racer than commentator. Right, Stuart Packham. The next race, when you see a rather 4 or 5 year old Lexus come howling down the inside, out of control, and T-bone you, you know I'm a better commentator. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, I'm reading only quality of both. Shame it's wet. I'd like to see the pace of those Bentleys. Oh, right, okay. I'll let you off. Sorry, I retract that offer to T-bone you out, Stuart. But it's great to see you listening in there. You know, I think the old phrase is those who can do, those who can't commentate. And I'm definitely in the second category on that one. And I was particularly on that the other night. I think Stuart saw, unfortunately, with ACC, this is a game which is for the purists. It's a game which is, you know, it's not one of these arcade type ones, that, dare I say, GT Sport, which has its place, but it's not a simulator. It calls itself a real driving simulator. It isn't. It's all squealy tyres and liveries, and you know, it's Fast and the Furious for PlayStation. If this doesn't generate comments on YouTube, I don't know what do. What will? Sorry. But Assetto Corsa is for the purists. It's for, and you know, it's on PlayStation to try and encourage people to move across to their platform on the PC, which is got more detail on it than the PlayStation version has. But it's oh, come on, Stuart Packer, more than a few smileys. Get your keyboard out. But the Assetto Corsa is very much more for the purists. And unfortunately, you get a few that have joined it who have come from the arcade, you know, I think more from Super Mario than anything. And I had that as an incident the other night where, having, you know, defended, you know, I would argue Alonso style against another driver, decided that the best way to overtake me was to clip the rear corner, spin me out, and fire me into the crash barrier. Which is not how we play in the Assetto Corsa. We're gentlemen, and as you can see on board, you know, on screen, these guys are gentlemen tonight, and that's how they operate. And ladies, of course, and all those in between, if you're of that volition. So, let's hop back onto, now I've just stepped down and stepped away from my soapbox. We'll hop back on with the Milden in second and the Fowl in third battle, because that gap has dropped from about 5 seconds between second and third to under 2 now between Ben Milden in second and S. Fowl in third. So we will keep an eye on this battle, because I think this is the one that's going to develop over the next few laps, because Tinnis has cleared off. He's grabbed that first position. He's 22 seconds up the road from Ben Milden. We don't think that any of the top 3 are going to have to pit again. Kaiser, I believe, is going to have to pit, and I think Flawed Algorithm is going to have to pit as well. So we could see a little bit of a shuffle of the order between 4th to 8th, because I think a couple of those guys are going to come back into play. I think, unfortunately, 9th and 10th are probably about where they're at, and may not come back more in. So the gap now down to 1.6 seconds as they come through across the line to complete another lap. 44 laps in. We've got an hour and 2 to go. So round Copse corner. Stories are they're going to call that Hamilton Verstappen corner, but I believe that's just vicious rumour on the internet. We're up through the Beckett's complex. Fantastic part of the circuits here. You go in there, those first 2 corners, more just flat out. Down a gear or 2, down another gear, you're round about second gear for this, and then you're back on the throttle really hard as we work our way down the hanger straight. you can see Asfal, he's getting close enough to just get his hooks in the back of that Bentley of Ben Milden in front of him. And it's just when you get that a little bit closer, you get that little bit of slipstream, and then it just draws you closer, 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 and that's what you want. And I think these guys, Asphalt using all track and a bit more. You can use those extra bit of track. You just need to be that bit careful that you don't get any track limit warnings. You get 3 of those warnings and then you get a penalty. And I think it's a 30-second stop and go. So it's quite a painful one. So you just need to be a little bit careful. And in the background there, you can see Asphalt running really, really wide out of that last corner of the F1 circuit. So he just needs to be careful that if you just gain that little bit of time through those sections, it will penalise you. And, you know, in a 2-hour, 40-minute race, that's so easy to get caught out. So, oh, hang on, we've got movers and shakers a little bit further down. I thought, we'll keep an eye on this because S-Foul, as I was just mentioning, here you go. S-Foul's on the left, Ben's on the right. He's just got that gap down. He was about 1.8 seconds. He's got that down to 0.6, and now he's just getting into that slipstream. The rain's still falling. The track's still wet. We've just got wet weather predicted for the forthcoming period of time. So I don't think anything dramatically is going to change. But in track condition terms, I mean. But I think things position-wise might change. Now, Tinnis is 24 seconds ahead of Ben, so we've just gone under the hour to go. So I hope you're all hanging in there with us. Don't go off watching, you know, Love Island or any of the other garbage that's on telly. Stay with this. This is going to get built up to a good finish. So S-Foul, he's showing 0.8 of a second behind Ben Milden now. And there's S-Foul that's on your screen now, number 89. And it's interesting. He got by Ben earlier, but then spun out. So he may just have that in the back of his mind. He's just got to be that little bit cautious. He needs to get by. But he knows Ben is a very similar speed. So he's not going to just get by and gallop away from him. So come on, YouTubers. You're all out there watching. We can see you watching. Who's going to win out of these two? Is Ben's consistency going to win, or is S-Foul's speed, but maybe a little bit of raggedness occasionally, is that going to win out overall? Because at the moment, shuffling down the pack, we don't seem to have too many battles. The guys seem to have spread themselves out fairly well around the track. And we are heading to that point, possibly, where I'm going to have to start, you know, working out some of my old F1 stories. So Guido has gone for the pits. So he was one of our earlier stoppers. Now that might just be a splash and dash, but as I mentioned earlier, 5th to 8th or 9th will probably shuffle up as the evening goes on. And as we watch Ben Milden followed by S-Foul into the Brooklands and Woodcote section, I think we're going to stick with this because I think this is where the battle is going to be. It's Bentley versus Bentley. There isn't going to be an awful lot to choose between them apart from setup. And of course, the one who's peddling them. Oh, Ben's looking a little bit defensive there. Oh, Guido just done that pit stop and got a stop and go 30 seconds. So I'd imagine that was for speeding in the pit lane. So as they go through the Beckett's complex. Oh, look at that. S-Foul just overdid it a little bit too much. Taken to that tarmac runoff area. I reckon that has compromised. Oh, no, not too much. He was wise there because if he'd gone across there too quick, he'd have got a track limits warning because he'd have gotten the advantage. So he did well there to do that. So here we go, back through the club section. Assetto very carefully made sure he didn't catch a warning for that cut across the Beckett's complex. Sorry, I'm just having to send my butler here for a glass of water, as I've been talking non-stop for best part of 2 hours. And we're in a bit of a crisis situation here at Mudley Talker Towers because the wine has run out. So if you'd like to send any donations of wine, please let us know. We can send you an address. Obviously, it's quite important towards this commentating. So back on with this battle. We've got Ben Milden in second and Assetto in third on your screen now. Now, the interesting factor that's coming in is that they are catching a lap driver. Now, I think that might be Guido, so he might be going in for the pits. So if that is the case, he's going for the pits. He's taken his penalty. So that's cleared him out of the race. So let's have a look. YouTube, JR Sim Racing. Oh, glad to see you're still there. I thought you'd gone away. Ben was breathing a bit easier now, but not for very long, I'm afraid, JR. Assetto is right on the back of him, as you can see, as they're heading up towards the Beckett's complex. They are line astern. But Tinnis is very much checked out. You're absolutely right. What an incredible drive. Pit lane to podium. Absolutely incredible. So, excuse me a second. My butler has arrived with my water. So I just need to loosen up my throat. You'd be interested to know that the wiring here at Mudley Talker Towers does actually contravene, I think, virtually every health and safety regulation. Anyway, oh, here we go. Assetto, is he going for the inside there? No, I thought he was going for the inside there into the club section, but he didn't. Oh, and Guido's done his stop and go. Now, it's interesting. We lost Kill City a little while ago. Now, things like that Guido stop and go would have made a significant difference to Kill City's position. So it's really sad when people leave. Excuse me. Yes, that was a yawn, ladies and gentlemen. Kill City left the room, but I think Guido's stop and go there would have played back into Kill City's hands and given him a lift up in position. JR Sim Racing, yeah. Tinnis and Jazzman are unreal on most sim game. Yeah, I agree. Jazzman, I've commentated on him in the past, and we've watched him disappear absolutely into the distance. But JR Sim Racing, you got to say, it's one thing to qualify up well and then disappear. It's another to start from the pit lane and still win. That is real quality driving. Admittedly, these longer races help that kind of situation. But yeah, to start in the pit lane, when he sacrificed that second position, I thought, yeah, okay, he's going to make a result, but it ain't going to be anything significant. But in this case, absolutely fantastic. Up there, in first, nearly 27 seconds up the road, having started from the pit lane. Absolutely incredible. So he's doing an absolute cracking job here. But this is the battle we're going to stick with, which is Ben Milden in second, and on your screen now, Assetto in third. These guys are going at it hammer and tongs. Assetto made a mistake a couple of laps ago and ran across the tarmac there at Beckett's complex, but he's still hanging on there on the back of Ben. Oh, I thought he was going to launch it down the inside there, though, but he didn't, and Ben's still got the position there in second. Oh, let's have a look what we're saying on YouTube. Ben's struggling for the old new pit section. Oh, between the old and new pit section, or between the new and the old? JR, you've confused me completely there. Oh, hello. Here we go. Ben got absolutely sideways there where he made the mistake earlier. They're going through and fell straight through. Ben Milden, he lost traction there with coming out onto the F1 pit lane. You saw him got absolutely sideways, but he's not giving it up. He's looking to the outside there. It's Ben on your right. It's Assetto on the left. But SVAL's got the inside line to it. And we know SVAL on a clear track is that little bit quicker. And as they come out of that complex, it looks like he's got the move done and he's got away. But that started all the way back when they came on to the... Oh, and where's Ben gone? Where's Ben? Ben has made a mistake, unseen by us, that Ben must have made a mistake in that first complex just before they came on the Wellington Straight, and it lost a considerable amount of time. So I'd imagine with that 8 seconds, he spun. So that's rather settled the place for second place. So let's just go back to YouTube. JR Sim Racing, told you. Oh, you see, everyone's a critic, aren't they? It's just like, it's like sitting there on a Sunday afternoon, you know, listening to Martin Brundle or Ben Edwards, and you're all there sat in front of your telly telling the commentator how they've got it wrong. It's so easy. Come this side of the fence, guys. Then you know it's not quite that straightforward. You know, you really need to come over with this one. Let's work our way up. No, I don't think. I think JR. I think he's lost it, mate. I think SVAL got the move done, and unfortunately, I think Ben was. Like we all do, you get overtaken, you think, I could get him back, I can get him back. And unfortunately, Ben just overdrove it that little bit and possibly had just like a half spin. And that's cost him that, you know, nearly 10 seconds now up the road to Fell. And we know Fell had caught Ben at a fairly quick rate. So I think Fell is off and gone. And Ben, who's on your screen now, unfortunately, that gap now, I don't think he's going to make that up. You see, there's a whole length of the F1 pit straight, and Kaiser is 23 seconds behind him. I don't think he's going to make any inroads into Ben Milden. So let's have a look. Stuart Packham, good battle with those Bentleys. P2, if SVAL was to get past Milden, he could get close to the P1. He seems a tad quicker. Yeah, SVAL was quicker than Kill City. I'm not quite sure how he's going to compare with Tinnis. I think we're too late in. I think there's 50 minutes to go now. Oh, sorry, 49. So I think there's about 26, 28 seconds. I don't think he can pull that in. That's roughly a second a lap. We'll keep an eye on it. It might happen. You might be right, Stuart. You know, but I just don't think he's quite going to do it. So, JR Sim Racing, sat in your armchair. Yeah, typical armchair critic. But yeah, okay, fair enough. He does say cracking job on comm. So thumbs up to you, JR. Appreciate that one. So I must admit, I started off with 2 hours, 40 minutes ago, and I'm thinking, I'm really not going to keep this going for 2 hours, 40 minutes. But we're hanging in there. So stick with us, guys. We've been here for an hour and 50 minutes already. We've got another 48 minutes to go. So hang in there with us. So let's desperately look down the list and see if we can see anybody who's going to look quite close to each other. We have got possibly something happening. We've got a group that are quite close. And here we are. We've got Lucas Brain. I thought he's just going to be lapped. No, he's not. Sneaky Ninja is just behind him. But showing 4.8 seconds. Oh, the car in between them is a lapped car by the look of it. Okay, that's the problem there. So Lucas Brain there in 6th, who I think is one of the drivers who's got to pit again. He's there in 6th, and the car behind him, I think, has gone extremely wide there. No, that's not Sneaky Ninja. It's Guido, who is just behind him. This is because I was, asked earlier to drop the names off the top to try and make it look more professional. Unfortunately, the problem you got there, you need a professional commentator, and that's what you haven't got. So Lucas Brain there in 6th is dropping Guido off the back, and in the background there's Rotters, who, doing well. he may be showing 2 or 3 laps down, but he's hanging in there for some points. He, pitted from the sighting lap, but he's still got speed there, you can see, and we can possibly see those guys hanging in there, and they're going to get some solid points. And I think you got to play in these endurance championships. You've got to play the long game. And I know a friend of mine, loosely, Stuart Packham, is watching, and he'll know that I've finished third in some championships where probably my outright speed didn't justify it, but I hung in there. I finished the races. I stayed in. I entered every round, and I banked those points. And that's what it's all about. And that's what these guys have got to remember, that endurance racing is a long haul. It's not a wham bam thank you ma'am. But it's you've got to be in there and stay in there for the long term. And that's what the guys like Rotters and Guido are definitely doing. And you can see in the background they've got the pace. Lucas Brain there, he's a lap ahead of those guys, but he can't shake them off. And this is just because of incidents and problems that the other guys have had. And it's Matthew Asbrecht in the background, which is the one who's trying to catch them. Sorry, Sneaky Ninja, who is behind Guido, that you can see behind him, and behind Rotters, who's in that yellow Bentley at the top of the screen there. So Sneaky Ninja has got to get by those two to catch up with... oh, hello. Oh, we got a bit of an incident there. That was Guido, I think, has had a bit of a moment there. Yeah, he's done a pirouette out onto the grass. So that's one less problem for Sneaky Ninja, who is just trying to be caught up by the cameraman in his McLaren there. That he's got Rotters in front of him, who is a lap car, but he's working there on catching up with Lucas Brain in 6th. So this is one little battle that could develop as we go on. We've got just under 3/4 of an hour left to go. Looking up front, Tennis in the House, as I think it was JR Sim Racing commented earlier, has checked out and he's gone way up the road. SFL in 2nd there. He cleared off about 10 seconds up the road from Milden there in 3rd, but Milden's brought that gap down to 8 seconds, so it's possible. And I think we're going to see some shuffling further down the pack, because I think some of these guys are going to have to pit, and they're probably going to leave it late as possible, and try and have as short a pit stop as possible, because these wet tyres, you may not need to change them, so they could have a late splash and dash. So instead of the pit stop costing them, say, 30 seconds, it may cost them, only 8 or 10 seconds. So just by putting fuel in, not changing the tyres. Oh, and as you see on screen, Sneaky Ninja there in the McLaren, lapping Rotters in the Bentley, and then going extremely deep on the corner there. And Rotters almost having to back out of it. So we've got Sneaky Ninja is now on the case of Lucas Brain, who didn't seem to have great pace there, because he, Guido and Rotters were, keeping him very honest. So it'll be interesting to see whether Sneaky Ninja has got the pace to catch up with Lucas Brain and try and get that 6th position away, because that's Sneaky Ninja on your screen at the moment. Let's just have a look what's happening in YouTube chat. JR Sim Racing, he's tipping his hat to Rotters and Guido for sticking with the grind. I'm with you completely. As I was saying, hang in there, bank the points. It's it's always worth it. It's you never know when that half a point can make a difference. And I've got a great F1 story that I'll just bore you with in a minute on that one, because I've just been reminded in my own mind. Oh, and talking that, Guido has gone for the pits. So he was one of the drivers we believed had gone for a 2-stopper. So that may bring Rotters back into it. So Guido and Rotters, we'll keep an eye on that. Could be interesting development there. So Stuart Packham, what's he saying to a spot driver? Careful turn 1. Be consistent, as you're saying. Stick to it, and you'll be rewarded. Very wise words there. that you just need to bank those points every time. Don't rage quit. Don't throw the controller through the window and walk away. Because what happens is you end up with nil points, as Britain normally does in the Eurovision. But the importance of points, while we've got a little bit of a spread out base here, as we're waiting for Sneaky Ninja to catch up with Lucas Brain, is that we'll go back to, and probably most of you guys out there weren't even born with the period of time I'm talking about. We're talking 1984, and this is the year that Senna started in Formula One, driving for a Tolman. You've got Niki Lauda and Alain Prost driving the McLarens. And the crux of this season was at Monaco. Now, the rain was chucking down very much like it was on screen. And Alain Prost had got away fairly well in the lead. I think Niki Lauda may have crashed out. I think you'd had issues with a few other drivers. But the driver that was siphoning his way through the field was Ayrton Senna. And he was catching Alain Prost at a mighty rate of knots. The rain was coming down hard. Now, I wouldn't, of course, suggest there was any patriotism going on here. But the Jackie Hicks, a Frenchman, was the clerk of the course. And he was reacting to Alain Prost pointing at the sky and waving about the rain and so on. And he, Jackie Hicks, decided to put the checker flag out, and so the race is finished. So what? You can all say, because you're sitting there listening to my ramblings. The so what is the fact that because the race was stopped so early, was that all the drivers were only awarded half points. So back in those days, you got 9 for a win. So instead of getting 9 for a win, Alain Prost got 4.5. Now, when the championship finished that year in Portugal, Niki Lauda finished second to Prost in the last race, and he won the championship by, guess what, half a point. Now, had Prost carried on in that race, either won it or swallowed his pride and finished second to the upstart Ayrton Senna in the Tolman, which was roughly like a shed with a jet engine strapped to it, and got 6 points instead of the 4.5 points, i.e. 9 points for a win. Half distance race, he only got 4.5. So he would have got an extra 1.5 points by finishing second. But because he was so desperate to be the winner, he only got 4.5 points, not 6. So 1.5 points different, lost the championship by half a point. So effectively, being desperate to win the Monaco Grand Prix that year, pointing at the sky, getting his fellow Frenchman to stop the race, cost him the championship. So, in amongst all that ramblings, what I'm trying to say is, you've got to hang in there. You've got to try and get maximum points for each round, bank them, and at the end of the day, you'll get your prize. Not be a patriotic Frenchman and decide you want to win everything. But that's just an opinion. Other opinions are available on the internet, mainly on Facebook. So, let's work our way back, see what's happening. Oh dear, we've lost somebody. We're down to 9. I will just speak to my technical director, see if he can work out who's disappeared. See if I can do it myself, because I'm quite good at that kind of thing. Rotters is hanging in there. Glad to see he's in 9th. Quado in 8th. I think we've lost one of the Ferraris, possibly. Oh, Kaiser's dropped out. It looks like Kaiser may have dropped out and back. He's in 8th. See, all the things you miss when I'm rambling. Kaiser's back, so we're back up to 10th. So let's hope he hangs in there till the end of the race. We've got just over 37 minutes remaining. So let's see if we've got anything developing. We've got Sneaky Ninja in 6th, still hunting down, shall we say, Lucas Brain in 5th. So we'll hop on board. Lucas Brain on screen now in the Ferrari, with Sneaky Ninja catching up in the McLaren. I think this is where it's going to develop, because I don't think anything else that's going to be particularly close. Up at the front, I can't remember who mentioned it earlier. I think Stuart Packham. I'm sorry, you were wrong. Esfal got by Ben Milden, but he is still falling behind Tinnis. He was about 26 seconds when he got by Ben Milden from third to second, and now he's about 36 seconds behind. So I think Tinnis, as JR Sim Racing said, has checked out and disappeared into the distance. So Kaiser's still in the pits. I imagine that was possibly a disconnect because I think he was up in fourth. So I think the big winner from that is Flawed Algorithm, but I've got a horrible feeling I think he needs to pit again. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was one of the early pitters. So I think we are going to see a little bit of action there as we go on. Because I think some of those guys, 5th to 8th, have got the pit. Guido, we know, has pitted again. So some of those guys a little bit further down may have to pit. So we'll keep an eye on this one on screen at the moment. I think the interesting thing to see, and all credit to, we'll just pop down and hop on board with him for a second, is Rotters. Didn't have a great start, had to pit from the sighting lap. But this guy has definitely got speed because he's hanging on to Sneaky Ninja in 6th and Lucas Brain in 5th. Despite the fact they're a lap ahead, he's really not dropping away from them. You see him there, he's just going through the club complex, and Sneaky Ninja's just coming out. And there you go, there's Rotters in the background there in that yellow Bentley. So, you know, all credit to him, he's hanging in there. And keeping these guys honest in front, despite the fact he's a lap ahead. He's now ahead of Kaiser. Kaiser's hanging in there for the points. We'll just have a quick hop on board to see where we are with the championship points on that one. Because I think Tinnis is going to make a massive difference in the championship here. We're just going to hop back and have a quick look and just refresh our screens at this end. Oh, Stuart Packham. Yeah, I'll get my coat. Yeah, there you go. I just did. You know, I don't want to point out you were wrong, but you were. So I think Kaiser's definitely hanging in there because he's had a 4th and the 3rd so far. Okay, a 10th isn't going to be great in championship point terms because that's going to give him. Let's have a quick look. That is going to give him. So I've got somebody who's just finished in 5th. Oh, sorry, in 10th. Looks like 22 points. Yeah. So 22 points. So that's not going to. He's not going to catch up with Kill City. But the one who's going to have the big win in this is Tinnis. So we've got that's 85 points for a win. So that's going to take him on 195. So Tinnis is going to leap into the lead of the championship with this one. With 185. Kaiser's going to still be in 3rd. Kill City, I think, will be 2nd because we lost Locker earlier. Yeah. So Jazzman's not with us tonight. Leclerc's not with us tonight. Guido's not going to have a bad night here as well. He's in 8th, so we'll have to try and master some points for that. But that's going to be somewhere around about 27 points. So that's certainly going to help his position. So that's going to put him on 87. So that's going to put him up to about 4th, I think. So, and the other one that's going to make a big jump is Flawed Algorithm up there in 4th. I think that's going to give him a real jump. We need to find somebody who's just finished in 4th because we're having to work out the points. And we can't. So I think Flawed Algorithm is going to get a leap up the charts as well. So it goes back, you know, the discussion we've had on YouTube, particularly with Stuart Packham, is that it's consistency. That's the important thing in these endurance championships. They're not short sprint races. They're long hauls, and this is a 6-round championship. And if you miss out one round, oh no! As I was complimenting even Rotters, it looks like he's gone beyond the barrier and somewhere else. He's showing a yellow sign. There he goes. Poor old Rotters. He was doing so well. So Rotters, he was doing so well, and just that one slight bite from the corner as you come onto Wellington Straight, and he was rounded into barriers. Now, that may force him into the pit stop, so that will help Kaiser if he has to pit and then loses the position to him. So we're just coming up with 31 minutes to go. Have we got any action developing? Sneaky Ninja is still working. Let's have a quick look. Oh, cameraman's catching up. Sorry, I woke the cameraman up. This has been a real long simmering boil of a battle. This between Lucas Brain and Sneaky. I think the Olympics hadn't actually started before this battle actually got going. So, but they're still at it. They've just got 0.6 of a second behind them. So, but they're both being pretty consistent. Sneaky's just been like a fisherman, just winding Lucas in on the end of his rod, but he's doing it quite slowly. The weather, it doesn't look like it's going to change. It looks like it's going to be wet for the rest of the race now. And it looks like Sneaky could have this position of 5th. He's currently 6th, sat there in that white McLaren, catching the black Ferrari of Lucas. But he's caught him gradually over the last few laps, so I think this is going to be down to mistakes. We'll leave this battle for a second. We'll just have a quick run through where we are in the field. Tennis in the house, cracking drive, pit lane start, worked his way carefully up through the field, nothing too radical, had speed, picked drivers off. We've had a couple of disconnects and mistakes by other drivers, but that's put him through into the lead. So cracking drive there from Tennis. Second, we've got Assetto. Had a few yo-yo moments earlier in the race. He was behind Kill City at the start. Kill City, unfortunately, driver, great pace, leading the championship, but unfortunately we lost him about halfway through the race. Assetto got past him about 20 minutes into the race and was clearing off. Then he made a mistake, dropped down to 5th, and then has gradually worked his way back up. Overtook Ben Milden in 3rd a couple of laps, sorry, not a couple of laps ago, about probably 15 minutes ago, and got himself up into 2nd. So Assetto there on your screen, doing really well. Ben Milden there in 3rd. Not great qualifying. I think he was down around about 10th. I thought he was going to struggle, but these wet conditions seems to have suited him. Moved his way through the field pretty quickly early on. Was running up into 2nd until Assetto got him, again, as mentioned, about 20 minutes ago. He then had a little bit of a spin and lost about 8 or 10 seconds. So he seems to have settled out now into 3rd. Flawed algorithm with that Ferrari. Fairly quiet race, but has done a cracking job there. Has worked his way up through to 4th. Don't recall that he's done any significant overtaking manoeuvres, but he's done a cracking job of getting this, Ferrari up into almost into the podium, and just a mistake by one of those guys in front, and he'll be through there. So this battle with Lucas Brain in 5th and Sneaky Ninja in 6th, we're well aware of. We're going to keep an eye on that one. It's going to keep tight. We're going to pop back to that in a sec. Matthew Asprey there in 7th. Fairly quiet race for him. Think he's worked with one of the other Ferraris for quite a bit of the race. But he is settled out there in 7th. So going to get himself a nice bag of championship points there. So I'm sure he's going to be chuffed with that. Guido, he'd gone for a... Oh, let the cameraman catch up. Guido had gone for a 2-stop strategy. So that shuffled him a little bit down in the order there. So that may come back to him later on. Some of these other guys, we've got just under 27 minutes left. Just some of these other guys may have to go in for a splash and dash at the end. And that may just come back to Guido's advantage. Rotter's there. Oh, just going to say, it looks like he may have picked up a bit of damage. It looks like he's got a bit of a flapping bonnet there as he comes down the pit lane, hits the brakes for the 50 kilometres an hour speed limit. Hazard flashes going to show that his speed limiter is on. I think this is possibly going to be a little bit of an extended pit stop because that bonnet looks like it is a little bit flapping. So we will leave Rotters in the pit lane at the moment. Kaiser, unfortunately, had a disconnect early on, but very much he's going for the long game on this championship. He's had a couple of good results. This isn't going to be his greatest night, but as people have said in F1, in touring cars, in GT racing, these odd points can make the difference. And, you know, hanging in there for 10th place, you know, he may not be chuffed for that, but it's going to be a bag full of points that people like Kill City, Locker, aren't taken away from tonight. They'll have nothing. They've not finished. They're DNFs. They're zeros. So people like the Kaiser, this is the nights where even though there's a bit of a disconnect issue, he can pick up a bag full of points, and that will make a real difference come the end of the season. So let's hop back on. So we've got Lucas Brain there in the Ferrari, followed by Sneaky Ninja in the white McLaren. So this is a battle that has been bubbling for a long time. But we're all sat there on the edge of our seats waiting to see how it's going to end. Come on, YouTubers. I hope you're all still watching there. Who's going to win out of the battle of these two? Are you with Lucas or are you with Sneaky? So, flawed algorithm. Mentioned was having a really good result there in fourth. He's just dived into the pit. So, as I said to you, with half an hour to go, there was going to be possibly some changes as a few of the guys decided to pit who had gone for that two-stop strategy. So here they come through the Beckett's complex. Sneaky Ninja in that white McLaren is looking closer than he has done for a few laps. So maybe he's just working himself up for a manoeuvre as we get down to the end of the hangar straight into Stowe Corner. Just needs to get that a little bit closer so he can get a bit of slipstream off that Ferrari in front and get himself a bit closer. He looks like he's dropped back a bit there. See the spray still flying up. The rain is still coming down here at Silverstone. So here they come, round down towards the club section of the circuit. So, come around down the F1 start-finish straight into the fast right-left section as we head up towards Wellington Straight. It looks like Sneaky Ninja just can't quite get onto the back of Lucas Brain. Now, the prize for getting past Lucas Brain for Sneaky Ninja has just increased with flawed algorithm. With that pit stop, he's just dropped from 4th to 6th. So you are knocking on the back door of Sneaky Ninja. You know, they're knocking on the door here of a potential podium. If one of the first three has a problem, a disconnect or anything similar, they will have their foot on that podium and the laurel and the champagne. So here we go. Come on, Sneaky Ninja. We need to see some lively action here. I'm trying to see who that is in the background. I think it could be Tinnis that is catching these guys to lap them. So, that is Tinnis in the background there, coming up to lap these guys in 4th and 5th. Just shows that level of performance that Tinnis has got in that Bentley. And as you see, the podium is a Bentley lockout at the minute. So, can Sneaky Ninja play a bit crafty and use Tinnis coming through to lap them as an opportunity to get by, because they are obliged to move over to let Tinnis through, but you can sometimes use this as an opportunity and use Tinnis as the battering ram to get yourself by the car in front. And look at the rate of knots that Tinnis is catching these guys. He's got so much pace in that Bentley. And Sneaky Ninja in that. Oh, Sneaky Ninja goes wide. Lets Tinnis through. Now, is he going to do what I said? Tuck under the back wing of that Bentley and try and use that as a battering ram to get himself by. Lucas Brain in that Ferrari's pulling over, letting Tinnis by, and they hold position. Lucas Brain still fourth there in the black Ferrari, and Sneaky Ninja in the white McLaren. Oh, Sneaky Ninja's gone wide. He's doing a bit of grass cutting there. Oh, that's cost him dearly. All those laps of working his way up onto the back of Lucas has just been lost in one small mistake there. So we've got just under 21 minutes remaining. So Guido has just gone for the pits. I think he's going for the pits again there. And I think this could play into Rotter's and Kaiser's hand, because I think he went for the pits a couple of laps ago. So we're just looking down, trying to keep an eye on where other people are coming a little bit close. But interesting, this battle between Lucas Brain in fourth and Sneaky Ninja there on screen in the white McLaren is bringing into play in sixth Flawed Algorithm, who went for that pit stop. He's now out there on fresh tyres, which with the wets doesn't make quite so much difference. Oh, and speaking of Flawed Algorithm, I'm afraid, just as I was talking him up, Commentator's Curse came in with full force there, and Flawed Algorithm launched himself off the track into the barriers there. So I'd imagine he's now carrying damage. So whether he's going to need to pit, just under 20 minutes to go, if you can run with it, you're going to hang in there and hopefully hold on to the position you've got and not have to pit, because the time loss is probably about 20 seconds just trundling down the pits lane, and another 30 seconds while you're stationary, plus your repair time. So with a contact like that, he's possibly looking at 90 seconds in the pit. So you're going to lose possibly the best part of a lap if he pits. So we're just coming down to 19 minutes remaining, which is going to be about 9 laps. He's probably better to hang in there, because even at sort of 5 seconds a lap slower, he's going to be better off staying out. So we'll just hop back up with Sneaky Ninja, who, with this long simmering battle between Lucas Brain and Sneaky Ninja there in the white McLaren, is still going on. Sneaky Ninja was getting close as they got lapped by the leader. Sneaky Ninja in the McLaren ran wide across the grass and lost a lot of time to Lucas Brain, but he's now caught that back up. So looking around the field, I don't think there's anything that's particularly going to bubble over at the moment, apart from the battle that we've got on screen. But we've got just 18 minutes ago. We've been going for 2 hours, 20 minutes. So we're lucky. We've still got 10 drivers still in there here. From the 14 that started. And interestingly, 2 of the drivers that we've lost, Kill City and Locker, are big players in this championship. So this is going to be a night where, and it looks like Sneaky's making mistakes again. Getting a bit lumpy there across the first part of the Beckett's complex. And it seems just as he gets close to Lucas, he just seems to make that little mistake. So, and Lucas is playing the Skeletric trick of just keeping himself in that slot, not making a mistake, just banging the laps in. So, that may play to him as the race goes on. We're coming down to 17 minutes to go, so there's not that long left. So let's have a look round, see if we can see, have we got anything else that's going to bubble over? We got the gap. Tinnis in the house just completed 64 laps. SFAL's second. He was around about 36 seconds behind. So I don't... Oh, and he's now 39, nearly 40 seconds behind. And the next driver up, Ben Milden, I think he got overtaken by Fowl a few laps, or quite a few laps ago now. And he's now 16 seconds back. So I think our podium, subject to drivers making a mistake, is fairly well settled. It's just the lower positions, and I think somewhere between 4th and 8th, I think somebody's going to have to pull the trigger and pit at some point. So I think this race still has one or two little surprises for us that we're not expecting. Because there were some drivers that went for 2 stoppers. And as you see, Kaiser, who disconnected and had to rejoin and start again from the pit lane, he's up to 9th. And I'm not sure how far he is behind Kaiser. We'll just have a quick look on that. So Quado is just coming into the Brooklands Woodcote complex, and Kaiser number 3 is just coming onto the Wellington Straight. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. But I think there's actually more than that between them. Just look at that. That's their track position. But there's a lap. Unfortunately there's a lap as well between them. So let's just get back onto Sneaky. Let's have a look. Stuart Packham's comment. Lucky we got this battle. Shame it's a light lobby. Still feel good battles tonight. I'm only watching because you posted an ACC group. Didn't realise that I commentate here. Yes, well, I've run it. I checked in my bag of talent for driving, Stuart, and it's empty. That's all I've got, I'm afraid. So, oh, look at that! Sneaky ninja. He went to the moon and back. He's collected it up. I think he must have got damaged. And there's Flawed Algorithm. He's coming up to the next right-hander. That's Flawed Algorithm on the left. Sneaky Ninja on the right. Sneaky Ninja, I think, must be carrying damage after that. He came into contact with one of those sleeping policemen on the exit of the corner, which is there designed to stop drivers running too wide. He collided with it, and he went absolutely airborne on it. And Flawed Algorithm came around the corner and went, woohoo, Christmas, and snatched that 5th position. So I'll be interested to see whether Sneaky Ninja can actually keep up with Flawed Algorithm here, because I imagine he's got to be carrying damage there, because that was an almighty impact. And with less than 14 minutes to go, I don't see the logic of him designing the pit. I think he's just got to carry that pain, because I think the gap from him back in 6th, back to Matthew Asprey in 7th, I think is quite significant. So I think we've lost the battle of Sneaky Ninja chasing down Lucas Brain, but I think we've got a new battle of Sneaky Ninja chasing down Flawed Algorithm. But I think he'll just be seeing what pace that white McLaren has got, because that was such an impact with that sleeping policeman. And if you remember a couple of years ago at Monza, I think in the Formula 2 or Formula 3 race, I believe it was the Formula 2 race, coming out of Parabolica, one of the drivers connected with the sleeping policeman track limit bump and went absolutely vertical. It was like Apollo 11 taking off. event. Oh, and Asfal is back, showing 1 lap, and he's in the pit. So he's rejoined, but he obviously needs to get back out again. So it drops down. I think it gives you a bit of a wait time before you can get going again. So he's stuck there in the pit. So Asfal has rejoined us, but he's dropped down to 3rd. As we know, flawed algorithm is in 5th. So he's now up to 4th. Sneaky Ninja is through. That pack of Lucas Brain, Flawed Algorithm, and Sneaky Ninja are all very close together. So depends how quickly Asfal can get going. Again, he's playing the same card of Kaiser that he disconnected, but he's jumping back in to try and get some points. And this could be so important when this championship gets towards the end. So we will leave Asfal in the pits because he really doesn't seem like he's getting going. And the next driver coming around is 83. And it looks like actually the Ben Milden in 2nd is coming around to lap Asfal as well. So he's going to drop off. He has dropped off the lead lap very much. So we will hang on with the Sneaky Ninja Flawed Algorithm battle. And Lucas Brain will be chuffed to bits. He's dropped in to a 3rd place there, completely unexpected. So he's going to be over the moon with that one. So Flawed Algorithm here will be keen to catch up with Lucas Brain because these 3 guys, look at it, all, there you can see them all on one shot, all chasing for that final podium positions. And we've just gone under 10 minutes remaining. So this is absolutely incredible for an endurance race. Normally at this point, it's all settled and we've all gone for a cup of tea. But tonight, it's all still very much alive. 3rd, 4th, 5th, all in the same shot. So Sneaky Ninja has been chasing drivers, it seems to be, for the last hour. So he just doesn't seem to be able to make the move. So be interested to see whether Sneaky Ninja and Flawed Algorithm work together to catch Lucas Brain to try and go for that last podium position. Because I think 1st and 2nd is very much settled. Asfal is back out on the track. He's dropped back into 7th. So he's dropped from 2nd to 7th, which is going to be painful in the points, but he's still going to take a bag full of points home with him tonight. I think we'll just drop down and see where he is track position wise to see. He's number 89, and yeah, we're looking for see where Matthew is. So he has got a chance. We'll keep an eye on that one because you can see on the screen now is Matthew Asbrecht in 6th. And just coming into the screen in the back there is Asfal in 7th. So I think there's a fair chance that Asfal will pick off 6th place here. So this is really lighting up with 8 minutes to go once our cameraman catches up with where the cars are. So this looks to me like Sneaky Ninja is catching Flawed Algorithm as a pack and onto Lucas Brain as well. So this is going to be a 3-way battle for the final podium position. So I can see the door mirrors coming off as we get towards the finish. We're just clicking down to 8 minutes to go. So this is really starting to liven up. And this is a real eye-opener for people normally in endurance racing. You don't normally get these close battles towards the ends. This is normally settled out way in advance of this. And this is especially good because we've only got 10 drivers on the track at the moment. I can definitely see that Flawed Algorithm and Sneaky are catching Lucas. So I think this is definitely going to get lively in a minute. And we're going to keep an eye on Asfal because he is catching Matthew Asbrecht as well. So I think we'll keep an eye on that one because I think Asfal will have come out with fresh tyres. So I think he's going to be on Matthew Asbrecht's case very quickly indeed. So JR Sim Racing, home stretch. It may be the home stretch JR Sim Racing, but it's definitely not going to be a quiet one, is it? There's Sneaky Ninja with that white McLaren having a look down the inside of the red Ferrari of Flawed Algorithm. I would say he's better off sitting behind Flawed Algorithm and just catching up with Lucas Brain and then making his move towards the end of the race. We've just got 6 3/4 minutes left to go. So this is really going to get lively. I'm just trying to see whether Matthew Asprey and Asfal are on the same lap. Yeah, I agree with JR Sim. The fight is on for the podium. Who's your money on? Come on. Oh, someone's off in the front there. I can't quite see who that is. Someone was off at 91. Oh, I think that was Rotters. Has come off at the Beckett's complex. However, that means this battle for third might well catch him and could play a factor. Oh, that looked like Flawed Algorithm was making... Oh, he's doing a bit of a Max Verstappen. He's swerving down the straight, trying to break that toe from Sneaky Ninja. Oh, JR Sim Racers, there's no point tripping over each other at this point. Yes, but... Oh, look at this. Sneaky Ninja's suddenly getting racy. He's going out, trying to go around the outside at the club section. He can't make it stick. I think he can smell a podium in the distance. He really wants to make this work. And he knows he needs to get by Flawed Algorithm at some point. Oh, he's run wide there as they come onto the F1 start straight. So JR Sim Racer says no point tripping over, but I just think it's that red mist of a racing driver. There's a podium sat there and they're ready to grab it. Kill City's out, Locker's out. This may be their only chance of the season to get a podium. They're going to go for it. You're going to launch it. You're going to lick the stamp and send it, as Daniel Ricciardo would say. So I think Sneaky and Flawed have got to be careful there, that if they fight too much between them, I think they're going to let Lucas onto the podium because they're going to hold each other up. So this is really where it's at. We'll keep an eye on the battle with Kaiser and Guido, because Asfal and Matthew Asprey, I meant to say, because I think they're on the same lap, but we'll keep an eye on them because they are remarkably close. We will just dive down and have a quick look, because I think this will settle out for a few seconds. So we'll just hop on with Asfal. And he's just heading down in through the club complex. Yeah, or even complex. But he doesn't seem to be making any inroads into Matthew Asprey. So I think he's probably stuck down there in 7th. So we're going to hop back with the Lucas Brain, Flawed Algorithm, Sneaky Ninja battle, because this is where it's going to liven up. JR Sim Racing says hammer time. Oh yes, I think it's hammer time for everyone here. Oh, Sneaky Ninja was so late on the brakes there. He somehow managed to hold it up. I think he was pulling hard on the steering wheel like a horse to try and bring it to a stop. So the two Ferraris with the McLaren close behind. Lucas Brain leading the pack. Flawed Algorithm in the red Ferrari 2nd. Sneaky Ninja in the white McLaren 3rd. Of these, 3rd of these 3. You know what I all meant out there. So here we go. We've just got 3 minutes to go. Hang on. JR Sim Racing. Round of applause to the commentators tonight. Thank you very much. And I would like you to also put a round of applause to JW, who's been the man doing the production to my right-hand side and keeping me in fluid. So, you know, he needs a round of applause as well. But Jackie Stewart, I can go on with stories for hours. I've got all sorts of F1 stories. But this is bubbling up. 2 minutes 40 to go. Line astern. Lucas Brain, Black Ferrari 3rd. Flawed Algorithm, Red Ferrari 4th. Sneaky Ninja, White McLaren 5th. This could go any way. One mistake by any of these guys could wipe the whole lot out, or it could gift the position to another one. This is not what you expect after 2 hours and 40 minutes racing. So, here we go. Cross the start-finish line. Tennis in the House has completed 71 laps. These guys are just starting it. So, it's all looking tight. Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean, boys. So, round Copse Corner, heading up towards the Beckett's complex. Who's going to make the move first? It's so tight between these guys. One little mistake. Oh, and here we go. It looks like Flawed Algorithm was trying to go around the outside of Lucas Brain there, but couldn't make it stick. Now he's compromised himself, and Sneaky Ninja in the white McLaren is trying to have a go at Flawed Algorithm there. So we've got somebody off at Wellington. I think that's Kaiser, by the look of it. But I'll imagine he's going to get going. We'll concentrate on this battle now. Down the hanger straight. Sneaking Ninja. White McLaren showing his nose down the inside of the red Ferrari of Flawed Algorithm. Oh, it's just getting so tight. Be careful, boys. Don't spoil it. Up to the club complex. Still line astern. So it looks like somebody's having trouble getting going there at... We'll just hop down. I daren't look away from this battle because I think this is just going to liven up any second. But these guys are coming up to this section, so we might well see what's going on. Looks like Lucas Brain there in third in the black Ferrari has just got a little bit of breathing space over the red Ferrari of Flawed. Oh! And both Flawed and Sneaky have gone wide. Oh no! They're going to hit! They're going to hit! Oh no! That's not what we wanted to see. Sneaky got it completely wrong across the grass. He was trying to stop it. Unfortunately, he just got airborne and oh no, it's all gone completely pear-shaped. Flawed Algorithm's trying to get it going. He spins it one way, spins it the other. And so that's dropped him to fifth. Oh no, who we got off there now? I think that was possibly... Oh, there's somebody off there as well. I think that might have been... Oh, that was Sneaky Ninja. Sneaky Ninja doing the right thing. He made the mistake. He crashed into Flawed Algorithm, pulled over and let him by. Great driving there by Sneaky Ninja. Really fair. That's dropped him back to fifth. But the real winner in the middle of all this has been Lucas Brain. We knew that was bubbling up. We knew it was going to boil over at any second, and it did. Unfortunately, it's happened so much. It's happened to me years and years ago in kart racing. The driver in front of you runs wide, and it just something in your brain makes you follow them. And that exactly happened to Sneaky Ninja as he followed Flawed Algorithm as he went off the track there. So the leader's on the last lap. So we're going to just hop on board with Tinnis. What a drive from the pit lane all the way to the front. Took over around about halfway. Worked on the single stop basis. Stopped just over the half distance. Cracking race, not really been threatened by anybody too much. Possibly a little bit helped by the dropping out of people like Hill City and NSFL. But he's done an absolutely cracking job there up at the front. Just working his way back round to the Wellington Straight down towards the final section. And just getting some comments in there. JR Sim Racing, yeah, Tinnis Masterclass, yeah, I would say that. Absolutely great racing there by Tinnis, real masterclass, and a cracking battle there. Stuart Packham comments, and yeah, and great sportsmanship by Sneaky Ninja to pull over and let Flawed Algorithm by as he caused the collision. But here we go, coming around Woodcote down the straight is Tinnis in the house. Fantastic round of applause there from everybody. Great racing there. Crosses the line, full points in the house. So, second place, Ben Milden. Oh, looks like we've got somebody off on the... Oh, looks like Rotter's had a little bit of an incident on the Wellington Straight. Looks like the bonnet's flapping a little bit on his Bentley. I hope he hasn't hired it because he's certainly not going to get his deposit back. He is working his way round towards finish there. Had to pit on the... sighting lap, but he still finished through there in ninth. He wasn't last, so proves you should hang in there. So Lucas Brain has got coming through. Who we got coming through next? We've got Quado coming through next in the Ferrari, and then we've got Flawed Algorithm coming through in fourth. Great driving there, hung in there with that battle with him and Sneaky Algorithm and Lucas Brain. Oh, someone has had an issue here. Lucas Brain. Looks like Lucas has run out of fuel on the last corner. So, Flawed Algorithm has snatched right at the finish the podium. That caught us out completely. We were just waving everybody gently across the finishing line. And incredibly, it looks like Lucas Brain has run out of fuel right at the end. And Matthew Asprey's coming through. Possibly we can see as he comes through. No, can't see there. So Matthew Asprey comes through 6th, but he's a lap behind Lucas Brain. So Lucas Brain will still pick up 5th place there. Oh no, he doesn't. Matthew has picked up 5th place there. So Lucas has dropped to 6th. Esfal has already gone to the pits. And Guido is just coming through. He's round the back of the circuit. And as Guido's got half a lap to go. Quick F1 story. Fantastic one from the 50s. When Sterling Moss, who we sadly lost a year or two ago, ran out of fuel at Monza, indicated to his teammate what had happened, and his teammate actually came up behind him and pushed him back round to the pits. I guess that's probably something that couldn't happen tonight. I wouldn't imagine the Ferraris were particularly good at being pushed along by each other. But that's sort of going back. I think it might have even been in an F1 race that, old Sterling was run out of fuel there at the bottom of the banking. His teammate comes up and just gives him a gentle nudge all the way round back to the pits. The good old days of F1 racing. But here we go. Guido just coming in to complete the end of the race. But what a race we've had tonight. 2 hours and 40 minutes. You think 20 minutes is all going to be over. It wasn't over till like a minute, the seconds to go when Lucas ran out of fuel coming round the last corner. Absolutely incredible. That's maybe why he was hanging on steadily with the speed, because he knew that he hadn't got the fuel to get to the end. So flawed algorithm snatched that podium position for him, and Lucas Brain dropped down to 6th. So really painful. So great race there tonight. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. We've had a great time this end. Click on the like and subscribe so you know when we've got other things going on. And please get interactive with us. Great to see Stuart and JR and other guys that have got involved with us tonight. Really good to see people feeding back on what we're doing, and you're enjoying what we're doing. So it's great to hear. So brilliant. Everyone out there, stay safe, and hopefully see you again in the future.